Okay, so hi Len. Welcome back to the Zoom room for another Art of Letting Go live session. So let's dive in today to the text. We'll start with that. So today's text reading is, what are we on? Section 6 of chapter 18, called Beyond the Body. So let's dive into that. I'll just share my screen with you. And we'll do that and then look at the lesson maybe towards the end. It's just a short review lesson. It's the last day of our series of reviews, and then a meditation to close it. Okay, sound good?
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Okay, so here on my screen. Okay, so this is section 6 of chapter 18, Beyond the Body. It's entitled, how long is it? Let's just check. Yeah, actually quite a big, 14 paragraphs, but let's see how we go. So shall I read the original? You read the alternative.
Yeah.
All right. So there's nothing outside you.
There is nothing outside me.
That is what you must ultimately learn, for it is the realization the kingdom of heaven is restored to you.
That is what I must ultimately learn, for this is the realization that the state of pure formless awareness is restored to me.
For God created only this, and he did not depart from it nor leave it separate from himself.
For pure formless awareness, perfect love extends only this, and has never departed from itself, nor left its extension separate from itself.
The kingdom of heaven is the dwelling place of the Son of God, who left not his Father and dwells not apart from him.
The state of pure formless awareness is the natural state of the extension of perfect love, which never left its source and is not apart from it.
Heaven is not a place nor a condition.
The state of pure formless awareness is not a place or a condition.
It is merely an awareness of perfect oneness and the knowledge that there is nothing else, nothing outside this oneness, and nothing else within.
It is merely an awareness of perfect oneness and the knowledge that there is nothing else outside this oneness and nothing else within. From the top, there is nothing outside me. That is what I must ultimately learn, for this is the realization that the state of pure formless awareness is restored to me. The pure formless awareness of perfect love extends only this and has never departed from itself, nor left its extension separate from itself. The state of pure formless awareness is the natural state of the extension of perfect love, which never left its source and is not apart from it. The state of pure formless awareness is not a place or a condition. It is merely awareness of perfect oneness and the knowledge that there is nothing else outside this oneness and nothing else within. So it's just saying that there's nothing outside there. And what we need to learn is that the realization of the state of pure formless awareness is restored to us. And it extends only this and has never departed from itself, nor left its extension separate from itself. It's not a place or a condition. It's merely an awareness of perfect oneness and the knowledge that there is nothing else outside this oneness and nothing else within.
There's only oneness.
Yeah.
Like that. This is the non-dual knowledge that there is only perfect oneness. There's nothing else. Everything else, therefore, is illusion. And this is the only truth. And we've never actually been separate from it. That oneness is still there in our awareness. We've just forgotten it and covered it over with a load of rubbish, all kinds of false thoughts and emotions, and then projected that out to create a rubbish world. This is just reminding us that this perfect state, we were talking earlier in our expression about, the levels of illusions, and we talk about the astral plane and various subtle, gross, subtle causal levels and so on. All of that is part of separation. All of that is part of the dream world. Only perfect oneness transcends it. So if we have a look at this diagram, which we've looked at many, many times before, but it shows us. Is that happening? What's happening? Let me go, it's reloaded. It demonstrates this visually. So let's go into Descent into Hell. Everything that stems from the idea of separation. So all the ideas of levels, of bodies, of an individual self, it's all part of the tiny mad idea of separation. Perfect oneness exists apart from that. The idea of separation and the idea of perfect oneness do not reconcile in any way, shape, or form. They are opposite. So anything that stems from separation, all ideas of separation, so it's things like levels, hierarchies, orders of difficulty, orders of reality, different planes, different levels, different concepts, different structures, all of that is part of the illusion. And it's just our job to realize that it is all a product of one tiny mad idea of separation, which has then got fragmented and fragmented and further fragmented until we live in a world of almost complete separation and fragmentation. All these separate people and entities and things around us, all based on an idea of separation. That's what the world is a projection of. And the Course is just teaching us that none of that's true, because only this perfect oneness, which really is the only thing that's true and real, and nothing really exists outside of that. Only that is true. Only God is true. Okay. So happy to go on. Should we go to number 2?
Yes.
Do you want to switch it? Do you want to read the original? I'll read the alternative.
Yeah. What could God give but knowledge of himself?
What could pure formless awareness of perfect love give but knowledge of itself?
What else is there to give?
What else is, put in a really, what else is really there to give? Okay, number 3.
Oh yeah, the belief that you could give and get something else, something outside yourself, has cost you the awareness of heaven and of your identity.
The belief that I could give and get something else outside my capital self has cost me the awareness of the state of pure formless awareness and my identity.
And you have done a strange thing that you yet realize.
And I have done a stranger thing than I realize yet.
You have displaced your guilt to your body from your mind. Yet body cannot be guilty, for it can do nothing of itself. Yet you think you hate your body. You deceive yourself.
I've displaced my guilt to my body from my mind.
Yet a body cannot be guilty, for it can do nothing of itself.
Yet a body cannot be guilty, for it can do nothing itself.
You think you hate your body, deceive yourself.
You who think you hate your body. So I
Oh,
deceive myself if I think I hate my body.
you hate your mind, for guilt has entered into it, and it would remain separate from your brothers, which it cannot do.
I hate my mind, for guilt has entered into it, and my mind wants to remain separate from my companion's mind, which it cannot do. Okay, do you want to read it from the top in the alternative?
What could pure formless awareness of perfect love give but knowledge of itself? What else is really there to give? The belief that I could give and get something else outside myself has cost me the awareness of the state of pure formless awareness and my identity. And I have done a strange thing then I realize yet. I have displaced my guilt to my body from my mind. Yet a body cannot be guilty, for it cannot do nothing itself. I deceive myself if I think I hate my body. I hate my mind, for guilt has entered into it, and my mind wants to remain separate from my companions' minds, which I cannot do.
Okay, thoughts on that? What's he saying in summary there?
Well, it's just saying, obviously the pure formless awareness of love, you can only give knowledge of itself. So what else is there to give?
Hmm.
So we've done a rather strange thing and haven't realized this yet. You've displaced it with guilt on the body and from the mind. And of course, the body cannot be guilty. And we also hate the mind because guilt has entered into the mind and it wants to remain separate from companions' minds, which of course it cannot do.
We project our guilt onto our bodies. I mean, a lot of people hate their bodies and abuse and mistreat their body because it's a projection of the mind's guilt onto their body. And then the body suffers accordingly. It gets sick, it ages, it dies, so on. But it's all in the mind. People are projecting the guilt onto the external world. Their body is a start. And they project onto other bodies and say, "You're the guilty one." Go back to this quickly. So you see here that the way the ego deals with the guilt that it feels for seemingly denying God is to project it out onto others. So it blames other people, things, and blames God. And it also projects it onto the body because that's seemingly external to the mind. And that's where sickness and pain and suffering, physical sickness, pain, suffering, aging, and death come from. Projection of guilt outwards. And now, apparently, that guilt requires punishment. Guilt means that something has really happened that's sinful, that then deserves to be punished. And so now you need the pain and the suffering to make you suffer, to punish you. And there you have the explanation for aging, sickness, or pain in the body, and the way out of it, the healing of it. So it's all projection of guilt. And interesting, the greatest healer ever, Jesus simply said to people, "Your sins are forgiven you." He would always start with the saying, "Well, my brother, my sister your sins are forgiven. That's because he understood the power of that. When people felt forgiven, they felt once again connected to love. Then these illnesses, which were just a symptom of the sin and the guilt, would disappear. And because they believed he was the Messiah and he had the power to do that, because they believed him so fully, they got well, as he himself said. One instance where he healed a lady, touched his cloak. She'd had some dread blood disease for years. She touched his cloak and she healed. And he said, "Who did that?" And she owned up and said, "Sorry, Lord, I just thought if I touched your cloak, I would be better." He said, "It's not me who has healed you. It's your own faith that's made you well." So that's what we're talking about here. Faith in the deeper truth, beyond separation, beyond the guilt, beyond separation lies pure formless awareness of perfect love of God, which is the ultimate healer of all separation. All right. Okay, happy with that, Len? Should we go on to
Yes.
number 3 then?
Yes.
Nothing much to translate here, so I'll just go into the alternative.
Yeah. Minds are
Just read.
joined, but bodies are not. Separation only seems to be possible when I assign the properties of mind to my body, and it is my mind that seems to be fragmented, private, and alone. Its guilt, which keeps it separate, is projected onto my body, which suffers and dies because it attacked to hold the separation in my mind and deny its true identity. Mind cannot attack, but my deluded mind can make fantasies, and I direct the body to act them out. Yet it is never what my body does that seems to satisfy, unless my mind believes my body is really just acting out its fantasies. It will attack my body by increasing the projection of its guilt upon it. So it's just saying minds are joined and bodies are not. And separation is only possible when the mind and the body are assigned to the properties. So the mind seems to be fragmented, private, and alone, and the guilt keeps it separate. The mind cannot attack, but can be deluded with all these fantasies.
It's just a totally false dream world. If we go back to this, once we enter into illusion, we believe that illusion. We believe we're separate. We believe we're in a body. The guilt and the sin seem real, and now all we can do is project that out. We project it onto our body and onto other bodies. And then apparently our body and other bodies must suffer to pay for the sin and the guilt. Now, this isn't happening in reality. So your deluded mind makes up a fantasy and acts it out of a body that's sick, a body that's aging, a body that's suffering, a body that's in pain, a body that's dying. And all of that seems to be real in the projection. But if you understand the source of it is guilt for a crime you never committed, you see that it's just a delusion, right? None of this is true. It's a fantasy. So unless my mind believes my body is really just acting out its fantasies, it will attack my body by increasing the projection of its guilt upon it. So this is why sickness is so entrenched in the dream, because the mind just projects its guilt onto the body and then acts So this is giving us the source of all this. It's telling us, well, this is why you have all these body fantasies and all these body problems. It's because of the guilt. So the answer is simple. Let go of the guilt. To let go of the guilt, you must let go of the idea of separation, which means you must let go of the idea of being your individual self. That heals the guilt. That lets go of the guilt, and then you don't need to project the guilt onto your body anymore. The body heals. Why Jesus said to everyone he healed, your sins have been forgiven you, because he understood that the source of the thickness was guilt and sin, belief in sin and the guilt that arose from it. Once you understand this, healing becomes really simple, doesn't it? Obvious. Well, yes. If the real cause of the problem is guilt, and the real cause of guilt is separation, then your answer is to let go of your belief in separation. You'll have no more guilt, and you won't need to project the guilt onto anyone or anything like your body. So your body won't get sick and need to be punished for the apparent guilt that doesn't even exist. And so health is then guaranteed. Conceptually, this is quite simple, but to actually practice it means you've got to let go of your attachment to the body. Maybe there's some pains and aches. Maybe there's actual sickness, seeming sickness. You've got to let all that go and remind your mind that none of that's true. Because the guilt isn't true, because separation isn't true, because only pure formless awareness of love ultimately is true. And to go to that awareness from a state in which you were suffering and sick and believed in the body is the healing. That's the true healing. It's that shift away from the body awareness into true awareness is the real healing. And then that reflects in the body. So if you do something like that, the body can very often heal to reflect the change of mind. So it's inside out healing rather than outside in. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Very, very simple. These concepts are simple, but not little known. How many people understand that they're not a body, that their mind is delusional, that the body and everything the body experiences is actually just a delusion? Most people have made their body very real, haven't they?
Yes. Yeah.
So this is just reminding us of the truth and asking us to hold to the truth no matter what. Okay, so we've done number 4, yeah? We've done
We're on to number.
did we do number 3?
We've done
No, we
number
did number
3.
3, yeah. So now we're on number 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Your turn for
All right. So put to translate here. Let's do both. Shall I read the original? You read the alternative. So in this, the mind is clearly delusional.
Oh, yeah. In this, my mind is clearly delusional.
It cannot attack, but it maintains it can, and uses what it does to hurt the body to prove it can.
It cannot attack, but it maintains it can, and it uses what it does to hurt my body to prove it can.
The mind cannot attack, but it can deceive itself.
My mind cannot really attack, but it can deceive itself.
And this is all it does when it believes it has attacked the body.
And this is all it does when it believes it has attacked my body.
It can project its guilt, but it will not lose it through projection.
It can project its guilt, but it will not get rid of it through projection.
And though it clearly can misperceive the function of the body, it cannot change its function from what the Holy Spirit establishes it to be.
And though it clearly can misperceive the function of my body, is that a comment? It cannot change. It cannot change its function from what the remembrance of perfect love establishes it to be.
The body was not made by love.
My body was not made by love.
Yet love does not condemn it and can use it lovingly, respecting what the Son of God has made and using it to save him from illusions. Okay. Number 8, Elaine.
Yeah. Yet love does not condemn it and can use it lovingly, respecting what the extension of perfect love has made and using it to free its extension from all illusions. And from the top, in this my mind is clearly delusional. It cannot attack, but it maintains it can. And it uses what it does to hurt my body to prove it can. My mind cannot really attack, but it can deceive itself. And this is all it does when it believes it has attacked my body. It can project its guilt, but it will not get rid of it through projection. And though it clearly can misperceive the function of my body, it cannot change its function from what the remembrance of perfect love establishes it to be. My body was not made by love, yet love does not condemn it and can use it lovingly, respecting what the extension of perfect love has made and using it to free the extension from all illusions. So it's just saying that our mind is disillusional, and it cannot attack, but it maintains it can. And the mind cannot really attack, but it can deceive itself.
Yeah. So it's not happening in reality, but it's happening in a fantasy. It's happening in a dream. We've gone down the rabbit hole of this idea of separation into a totally deluded thought system. So everything that now happens is just a bad dream. The body, the nightmare of this place, of all the difficulties and the pain and the suffering and bodies getting sick and aging and dying, which is the human condition, right? But all of that is just a bad dream. Based on a false idea that we can actually separate from our pure formless awareness of perfect love. We can be something different from that. Once you understand this, life's really simple. Okay, so that's all that's going on here, ever. All the complexity, all the difficulties, all the pain, the suffering, all the problems, well, it's all just a product of this tiny mad idea of separation. I just got caught up in that. And I've so believed that story that I've forgotten the truth. That I'm just pure formless awareness of perfect love, and there's nothing else. So my job becomes to correct my delusion. As the delusions show up in the world, my job is to see them as what they are. They're just delusions, and remind myself that actually only pure formless awareness of perfect love is true. That process is called forgiveness or letting go. That's the reinterpretation of the ego's dream by the Holy Spirit or remembrance of perfect love. So it's really, really simple. This is not rocket science, is it? It's not actually conceptually difficult at all. What he's saying. But to do it in practice is where the difficulty comes in. Because you believe all this stuff. We're so immersed in guilt and sin and fear and a thought system of attack, believing we're victims of living a helpless, enervated little life of hell, which is limitation, lack of suffering, and inevitable death. We've so identified with that all these things now appear to be real. These delusions are seemingly real, and the truth has been buried. So now it becomes quite a major exercise to look on, perceive all these things differently, change our mind about them, let them go, and moment by moment restore our mind into this awareness. Seemingly, that's the challenge in our lives. is to do that consistently on an ongoing basis, without exception, without wavering, without vacillating. Of course, we will vacillate. There are going to be plenty of times we do, but that's when we're calling on the Holy Spirit, which is the remembrance of the state, to come in and remind us of the truth and give us a perspective on whatever's happening. Remind us that whatever these illusions are, they're not really true. They're not really real, so they actually have no power. Okay. Any other thoughts on that paragraph?
Yeah, that's good, yeah.
All right, so do you want to switch it again? You want to read the original this time, or read the alternative? Or
Yeah.
you want to read the alternatives?
Would you not have the instruments of separation reinterpreted as means for salvation and used for purposes of love?
Do I not want to have instruments of separation reinterpreted as a means for awakening and used for the purposes of love?
Would you not welcome and support the shift from fantasies of vengeance to release from them?
Do I not want to welcome and support the shift from fantasies of vengeance to freedom from them?
Your perception of the body can clearly be sick, but project not this upon the body, for you wish to make destruction. What cannot destroy can have no real effect at all.
Yeah, you read 2 sentences there, that's okay. So my perception of the body can clearly be sick, but I must not project this onto the body. For my wish to make destructive what cannot destroy can have no real effect at all. Right? So our wishes just, although we wish it, doesn't actually have any effect in truth. That's what he's saying. And number 5?
Yeah. What God created is only what he would have it be, being his will.
What pure formless awareness of perfect love extends is only what it wants its extension to be, being its awareness.
You cannot make his will destructive.
I cannot make its awareness, with capital A, destructive.
You can make fantasies in which your will conflicts with his, but that is all.
I can make fantasies in which my awareness seems to conflict with pure form's awareness of perfect love, but that is all. And then if you read from the top in the alternative,
Do I not want to have the instruments of separation interpreted as a means for awakening and used for the purpose of perfect love? Do I not want to welcome and support the shift from fantasies of vengeance to freedom from them? My perception of the body can clearly be sick, but I must not project this onto the body. For my wish to make destructive and cannot destroy can have no real effect at all. What pure formless awareness of perfect love extends is only what it wants its extension to be, being its awareness. I cannot make the awareness destructive. I can make fantasies in which my awareness seems to conflict with pure formless awareness of perfect love, but that is all. Just saying, it doesn't want the instruments of separation interpreted as a means for awakening and used for the purpose of perfect love. And I don't want to welcome and support this shift because they're fantasies and vengeance to freedom from them. So the perception of the body can get sick, but I must not project this onto the body. So my wish to make destructive what cannot destroy and can have no real effect at all. So what the perfect love extends is only what it wants its extension to be, and that's being this awareness. So we can't make this awareness destructive, but we can make fantasies into which this awareness seems to conflict with the pure formless awareness of perfect love. And it's saying that, but that is all.
Yeah. So it's just a fantasy. It's a delusion. All my fantasies of destruction, pain, suffering, sickness, death, all the negativity of the world, all the crap, as we talked about it in the expression session. All of that is just a delusion, a fantasy. Fortunately,
Yeah,
we just got to realize that. Okay, this is a deluded fantasy based on this tiny mad idea of separation. The problem is I've made that idea real. That's the only problem. I've made this idea into something that's real. That's now, in fact, the foundation of my whole identity, of my whole reality. That apparently has all these terrible consequences. I've given it all that power because my mind has the power to do that. The beliefs in my mind are powerful, but nevertheless, from the perspective of truth, it's all just an illusion. It's a delusion. I'm dreaming. I'm insane because none of this is true at all. It takes a bit of time to get one's mind around this. The whole thing is just massive delusion, and that you've been deluded your whole life. You're believing in all this stuff. Anything in the red boxes and the red arrows is the ego's thought system. Most people have been consumed with this stuff their entire life. It's a delusion, just dreaming. All of it has no reality whatsoever. And actually, you're still safe in God, safe in pure formless awareness of perfect love. However, it's no good to you conceptually. You have to actually realize that experientially. I'm safe in God. Well, okay, so but yet I'm experiencing the guilt and the sin and fear and attack and sickness and pain and suffering and death. But I'm safe in God. And well, your ego mind says that's nonsense. I'm not safe in God at all. I'm in fact very vulnerable. I'm living in hell, and I'm struggling and I'm suffering and I'm aging and I'm dying. And isn't this terrible? And so the forgiveness process is looking on all the consequences, perceiving all the consequences of the idea of separation: guilt, sin, fear, attack, accusation, blame, all the limitation, lack, loneliness, suffering, death, the foibles of the body, the frailties of the body, the aging, the sickness, the ultimate death of the body, looking on all of that and going, but none of that is true. Not one bit of it is true, because the idea behind it of separation is false. That's forgiveness. That's radical forgiveness. So he's saying, do you really want to continue as you are? Or do you not want to have all these instruments of separation reinterpreted as a means of awakening used for the purposes of perfect love? How powerful is that? See, so go back to the diagram. These blue arrows are the reinterpretation of all of the projections of separation into something that actually takes you back home, takes you back to this perfect loving awareness we call God. So then you have the true purpose of everything. Everything is a means for my awakening. And the more insane it is, the more separative it is, the more that is actually the case. So the more I get triggered and the guilt and the sin and the fear and the attack and this whole thought system arises, the more I have a chance to let it go and reinterpret that situation as a call for love and a call to let go of what doesn't serve me. Does that make sense? So that's a critical reinterpretation. That reinterpretation of the ego's dream and all the the ways of the world by the Holy Spirit is forgiveness or letting go. That's what we're trying to train our minds to do through this whole process. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Any questions? No? Happy to go on to 6.
Yeah.
Pretty much the only thing translated the last sentence, so just read that in the alternative. God's Son will become perfect love's extension. Otherwise, it's largely the same. Just do the alternative. Yeah.
It is insane to use my body as its scapegoat, guilt, directing its attacks and blaming it for what I wanted it to do. It's impossible to act out all fantasies in truth, for it is still the fantasies I want, and they have nothing to do with what the body does. The body does not dream of them, and they only make it liable where it could be an asset. For fantasies have made
a liability. They make it a liability. So it's now something that's a negative. It's a liability in financial terms, something you owe. Whereas an asset is something that's positive. Okay. I'm going to carry on, Elaine. Number 5. For fantasies have made my body.
For fantasies have made my body my enemy, weak, vulnerable, treacherous, and worthy of the hate that I project onto it. How has this served me? Have I identified with the thing I hate, the instrument of vengeance, and the perceived source of my guilt? I have done this to a thing that has no meaning, proclaiming it to be the dwelling place of perfect love's extension and turning it against their extension. So it's just saying it's insane to use our bodies as scapegoats for guilt, directing and attacking and blaming it for what it didn't do. And it's impossible to act out of fantasies in truth. But it's the fantasies that we want, and they have nothing to do with what the body does.
Yeah, fantasies are just that, fantasies. If you look at this, and this is true, most people mistreat their bodies in some way. Why do they do that? Because they're projecting their guilt onto the body. So they'll overeat, they'll drink, they'll smoke, they'll take drugs, they'll do things that are not healthy for the body because they're punishing the body.
Is that the same with cosmetic surgery?
Yeah, well, that's just the flip side of it. They're trying to make the body more beautiful, but they're only doing that because actually they hate the body. They're doing it because the body's not worthy to be their home. So they go, well, the body's not good enough, but I'm accepting that it's my home, so I'm going to try and make it better. So I'm going to have cosmetic surgery to make the body a bit more beautiful. And I think that that's going to solve the problem. But actually, the problem isn't solved because their body identification is just perpetuated. Now they believe in the body even more. The more plastic surgery you have, the more you believe you're a body, right? Otherwise, why would you bother? Clearly, you're going to go and spend all that time and money on having cosmetic surgery, saying, well, I really value my body a lot. This is my home. So this is really important to me. So I'm going to spend all this time and money on it so that my body can look better. But underlying that is the belief that you're a body, and then you're still in the thought system separation and guilt. And you can as much cosmetic surgery as you like. It's not going to stop aging and death.
No.
Good luck with that. But it's like trying to walk into the ocean and say, right, I want to do this little thing and I'm going to hold back the tide. It's ridiculous. You can't.
I know. Yeah.
It's true. Not going to happen. No, it has to be inside out. Letting go of all that And maybe, if you let go of it, to use the analogy, instead of holding back the tide, you just walk on water, as Jesus did. You transcend the whole illusion, and the body's not important to you anymore. So why would you bother trying to make it look more beautiful when it's not even your home, when it's not even you? It becomes ridiculous from that perspective. All the things that people spend so much time and energy and money on become completely insane and ridiculous from this higher perspective. Like, well, if you're not even a body, why are you bothering? This cosmetic surgery, or jewelry or makeup, or all the things people do to make themselves and their bodies look good and look better. Why are you bothering if you're not even a body? You're only bothering because you think you're a body. That's and there are multi-billion-dollar industries built on these delusions. That's the problem in this world. Cosmetic surgery, multi-billion-dollar industry. The whole, health industry, health and beauty, trying to make the body healthier, trying to make the body more attractive. Billion-dollar industry. Cosmetics, makeup, jewelry, perfume, clothing, fancy clothing, whatever, to make the body seem better. None of that's true. It's all a load of BS. It's not going to work. So this is where people will struggle with the course. They say, well, this is just so radical. This is like, I've got to let go of my belief in all these things. It's like, yes, you do, ultimately. That if you want to be free, you can't hold these beliefs and also believe that you're not a body and you're this eternal being who isn't a body. The beliefs contradict that. So you have a choice. That's what he's emphasizing all the time. You have a choice. What do you want to be? Do you want to be spirit, immortal, eternal, beyond the body? Or do you want to be a body tied to the mortal world, doomed to suffer and die? That's the choice you're always making. He says, I've identified with this thing I hate, instrument of vengeance and the perceived source of my guilt. But I've done this to a thing that has no meaning, proclaiming it to be the dwelling place of perfect love's extension and turning it against the extension. So I've made the seemingly meaningful out of the meaningless. And I've said that this is where I live, this is my home. So instead of dwelling place, we'll call that home. But how can the body be your home if you're eternal? It's not possible. If you're an eternal being, then that can't be true, can it? Because the body is mortal, the body's going to die. So do you see the clear contradiction? You can't be a body and also claim that you're an eternal being. It's got to be one or the other, because they contradict each other. So the idea that you can be body, mind, and spirit, and it all kind of somehow merges together into some unity that makes sense is deluded. You will never make sense of that contradiction. You're either a body and you're doomed to suffer and die and you're mortal, or you're an eternal being who's immortal and therefore the body is meaningless. Those are the two choices. There's nothing really in between. So Jesus is just highlighting this all for us, asking us to really look at the body and recognize it for what it is. Once you recognize it for what it is, that's forgiveness or letting go of a major part of our delusion. The delusion that we separate becomes seemingly real in our minds primarily through the body. Well, I must be separate because look, I've got my own body. And that body is separate from other bodies. And that body has its own unique characteristics, its own look, its own pains, its own problems, its own sickness, its own suffering, its own death. So it must all be real. Very ingenious. If you were going to try and perpetuate a thought system of separation that is false, what would you do to perpetuate that illusion? You'd make up a body, wouldn't you? because that's then seemingly the proof that you're separate, because you live in a separate body. So that's what Jesus is revealing to us. So just look at this and understand what's really going on here. That this isn't by accident. The world of separation of bodies was created deliberately by this idea of separation, the ego, for its purposes. Spirit had nothing to do with this, with its miscreation. But now spirit can enter into it and reinterpret it and give it the only meaning and purpose it really has, which is healing of your mind, to let go of all these delusions, which is the healing of your mind and free your mind back into this awareness. So it's very, very simple. It's very, very clear. And I think this is maybe where you mentioned the WhatsApp group. This kind of clarity isn't there. So this can help them. Like, it's actually really, really simple. The teaching is really simple. Now it's just about practicing and practicing. So you realize this. So you can apply this teaching in your own life. When the guilt comes calling, when you fear it, when you feel like you're in the hell of limitation and lack and loneliness and physical pain and suffering and death, when all of that human stuff comes up, you reinterpret it. I have a framework to reinterpret it. Say, I understand that none of this is true. And now you're making real spiritual progress. That's all we had to do, is do the reinterpretation or forgiveness. So it's very, very simple. There's one simple way out of hell. And then there's suddenly, the confusion clears up. Okay, I get it. It's clear. I understand. I've just got to do it. I'm saying it's easy to do this, but at least you know what you've got to do. There's no confusion about that. If you're confused about what you're going to do, you're at a deeper, darker level of ego confusion. You're just spinning around trying to figure out a way out of the dark dream and not finding your way because you don't know the way. So the Course gives us a light, and it says, here's the light of truth. Follow this, and it gives us a practice of how you actually follow this light out of the world. That's what forgiveness or letting go is about. Okay. So happy with number 6, Elaine? We go to 7. All right. So this is the host of God that you've made.
And
Want to read the alternative?
Yeah, this is the host of perfect love that you have made.
But I have made, personal love, first person.
Yeah, that I have made.
I made this up, that I made up, let's say. No, I made this all up, invented it. And neither God nor his most holy Son can enter an abode that harbors hate, and where you have sown the seeds of vengeance, violence, and death.
And neither pure formless awareness of perfect love nor its most innocent extension can enter a mind that harbors hate and in which I have sown the seeds of vengeance, violence, and death.
Yeah. The thing you made to serve your guilt stands between you and other minds.
The body I made to serve my guilt stands between me and other minds.
The minds are joined, but you do not identify with them.
Our minds are joined, but I do not identify with them.
You see yourself locked in a separate prison, removed and unreachable, incapable of reaching out, as being reached.
Instead, I perceive myself locked in a separate prison, removed and unreachable, as incapable of reaching out as of being reached.
You hate this prison you have made and would destroy it.
I hate this prison I have made and want to destroy it.
But you would not escape from it, leaving it unharmed, without your guilt upon it.
but I do not want to escape from it, leaving it unharmed and without any guilt projected onto it. And from the top, this is the host of perfect love that I have made up, and neither pure formless awareness of perfect love nor its most innocent extension can enter a mind that harbors hate, and in which I have sown the seeds of vengeance, violence, and death. This body I made to serve my guilt stands between me and other minds. Our minds are joined, but I do not identify with them. Instead, I perceive myself as locked in a separate prison, removed and unreachable, as incapable of reaching out as of being reached. I hate this prison I have made, and want to destroy it, but I do not want to escape from it, leaving it unharmed and without any guilt projected onto it.
Okay, thoughts on that?
Well, this is the host of the perfect love that we've made up.
The body, yeah? That's what he's talking about.
Yeah, and don't want to enter a mind that harbors hate, in which we have sown the seeds of vengeance, violence, and death. So the body we've made to serve this guilt stands between us and other minds, but our minds are joined, but we don't identify with them, but we are locked in a separate prison and removed and unreachable. And we hate this prison we've made and want to destroy it, but we don't want to escape from it, leaving it unharmed and without any guilt projected onto it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so maybe just say my separate self. So my separate self is tied to the body. My separate self cannot exist without a body. My separate self does not want to escape from it, leaving it unharmed without my guilt projected on it. So although it's a prison, the body is inevitably going to age and suffer and die. We kind of know that conceptually. Yeah, I know that. And yet they don't really know. Right? So the full realization of that came, they'd live their life in a different way. They go, well, why am I wasting time projecting guilt onto the body? Why am I harming myself in these various ways by consuming the wrong foods, by consuming substances, smoking, drinking, drugs, etc., that harm me? Why am I wasting my time with plastic surgery and cosmetics and all this stuff when I'm not a body? And the body's a prison that, my only job in life is to escape that prison, to transcend it while I seemingly am living in a body. My job is to realize that I'm not actually a body. That's forgiveness. That's the one function. That's letting go, which the world doesn't teach, does it? The world doesn't know this.
Mm-hmm. No.
So when you start on this track, you feel like a bit of an alien in this world, don't you? It's like, well, I'm kind of waking up and I'm looking around going, none of this is real. None of these bodies are real. I'm not even a body. And yet everyone else seems to believe it. They think they're a body. They think that, everything that happens here is real. And that, the pains and the suffering and the death of the body is inevitably real. But it's not true. So one can feel like a bit of an alien here, which is part of the awakening process. Yes, because you are an alien here. That's the truth of it. You don't belong here. This was never your home. You have to start realizing that it isn't your home, which means there's a sense of alienation from it. It's normal. It's part of the process. But you can remain here for a time and you can still stay in peace because you can see the truth beyond all these illusions. You see the truth beyond the bodies of people and you connect with their minds that are actually one with your mind. And you're starting to go beyond the illusions to the truth. And you're starting to live in an enlightened way. And that becomes our task. While we're here seemingly living in a body. And people like Jesus have shown us the way. He lived in a body, he lived amongst men and women for a time, but he didn't believe that story. He didn't believe he was a body, which is why he was willing to go through what he went through, go through the crucifixion, because he was like, well, I'm not really a body, so it doesn't really matter if they crucify my body. No, it doesn't actually matter in truth, because I'm not a body. I've just got to go through that rather awful experience to demonstrate that so truly to the world. I'm not a body. And I'll resurrect the body, because if he hasn't resurrected, people would have believed in the body still, you see. They would have said, well, he died, so he must have been a body then. There's his body, he's buried in the tomb. Okay, it's just like everyone else. He resurrected to show, no, I'm not a body. I'm a mind, and the mind is more powerful than the body. And if the mind is awakened, then the body cannot die. And he demonstrated that in the physical through the resurrection, to demonstrate that that's the truth and prove it once and for all to his disciples. And after that, they believed. Who could doubt it then? That was the kind of final, okay, he's taught them, he's prepared them. Finally, he does the resurrection, crucifixion. They see him, they go, okay, I have no doubt anymore. I believe. And I'm willing to die for the truth of what I know to be true. And so they went out to the rest of the Middle East and Europe and so on. They taught this truth. Sometimes I think 2 of them were crucified. So, and they they did struggle and they did suffer. They had difficulties, but because of his example, they were okay. Well, I'll go through it, because he demonstrated so clearly that we're not a body, and they were happy then to go through the death of their own bodies because he demonstrated that they weren't a body, so they weren't afraid of it. Okay. Make sense?
Yeah.
Happy to go on to number 8.
Yeah.
Just read the alternative. There's not much to translate here.
Yeah.
So we can go straight into the alternative. I'll leave the original up for anyone watching the video, can then read that alongside if they want to, but just read the alternative.
Yet only in this way can I escape. The home of vengeance is not mine, and the place I set aside to house my hate is not a prison, an illusion of myself. The body is a limit imposed on the universal communication that is not an eternal property of awareness. But the communication is internal. Awareness reaches to itself. It is not made up of different parts. We switch that off. Sorry, I'll just switch that off. But the communication is eternal. Awareness reaches to itself. It is not made up of different parts which reach each other. It does not go out within itself. It has no limits, and there is nothing outside it. It encompasses everything. It encompasses me entirely, me within it, and it within me. In truth, there has never been anything else anywhere or ever. So it's just saying.
Okay, so thoughts on that?
So we can only escape in this way. The home of vengeance is not ours. And place we set aside to house hate, but not a prison, but an illusion of ourselves. So the body is limited, and it's imposed on the universal communication that is eternal property of awareness. But this communication is eternal, and awareness reaches to itself. It is not made up of other different parts, and
Yeah.
So
this is a statement of non-duality. The last, awareness reaches to itself. It's not made up of different parts that reach each other. It does not go out. Now, people might say, but that seems to contradict, because in other places he says it extends. But you see what he's trying to say? He's trying to communicate in words. It's very difficult to communicate in words. It's a complete whole awareness. There's nothing else. It's complete unto itself. It's all encompassing, and there's nothing else. It's just this one awareness, one singular awareness. That is the only truth that is everywhere and everyone. So this is level 1 statement. And if we look at this diagram of the Holy Trinity, when he talks like this, he's taking us into level 1. What we call truth, heaven, God, Father, knowledge, the universe of truth, revelation, oneness, being, pure forms, awareness of perfect love, source, spirit, life, reality, essence, presence, the now, Brahman, nirvana, surviving, many names for it. Doesn't matter what you call it. He's pointing us into level 1, saying this is all encompassing, this is all there really is, and nothing else really exists. So everything at level 2 doesn't really exist. It has no reality. It's just a delusion of your mind. But the job becomes, when you caught up in level 2, to transform your mind from this false belief in level 2 and slowly, gradually awaken to level 1. This is very, very seldom does it happen immediately. You just go, oh, well, I'm fast asleep, and then whoop, there I'm back in source, I'm back in true reality. There's a process to it. That process is the process of correcting our minds, of transformation, of healing, of rebirth, of surrendering or letting go, flowing, forgiveness, having Christ's vision, true perception, miracles, or correction, and so on. Whatever word you use, this is what's required. So we talked about earlier about your experience of people getting frustrated in your WhatsApp group. Why? Because they hear, and then the teacher's saying, well, actually, this is all concepts. Actually, you hear. But from this perspective, you're looking across the chasm and you're going, but this is enormous. This is a massive gap. I don't know how to cross it. I don't know how to get there.
That's why there's a few that are getting very frustrated.
Yeah, because there's a chasm here. And if I don't have a process to cross between level 1 and level 2, I'm going to get very frustrated. And because I'm stuck here, knowing on some level I'm stuck, wanting out, but not knowing how I get out. I'm not knowing the process. So the Course gives us that process. It says, okay, so this process is called forgiveness, or letting go in alternative language, or atonement, or forgiveness, or corrections, or whatever you want to call it. There's a process to this. And it's going to guide you on that process and say, well, everything that comes up in this world is really part of this process. It's great raw material for this process of correcting your mind. And that's actually all the meaning it has. It has no intrinsic meaning of itself, but the reinterpretation of it by the Holy Spirit, which is where all true meaning comes from, gives it the only meaning it has. And now you have a process, you have a system, you can apply your mind to letting go, to forgiving, systematically, progressively as things arise, trying not to make exceptions, and you'll make progress. And then raising your mind up out of its delusion of being a separate self into identifying with the true self or higher awareness, which is the extension or the Son of God, the Christ, in other traditions called the Buddha, the Atman, or the soul, that knows that it's eternal, but can also perceive the world correctly. Yeah. So there's kind of a middle ground here, middle way, as the Buddha called it, where the true self is connected to its source and it knows that, but it's perceiving correctly. That's the source of true perception, is then the true self, which is the higher awareness that you really are. But it can interpret the truth of pure non-dual awareness into perception and correct your perception, which is the genius of the Holy Spirit. That's what it's there for. Yeah. So is that all making sense? So I think if people explain it like this, with the help of these diagrams, it's actually quite simple, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, all right, I understand now what's going on. And if I understand what's going on, I understand what I need to do. If I frame it correctly and I understand it, then the answer is obvious. I just need to correct my misperceptions. I need to let go of my belief in all these things in time and space. And that is an intermediary step to pure formless awareness of perfect love. But I can't expect to get there until I've corrected my perceptions. Obviously, I still believe in all this. I'm miles away from pure formless awareness of perfect love. So it starts with correcting my perception, which is exactly what the Course is proposing we do. The miracle is the correction of your perception. And then it all starts making sense. You go, okay, this makes sense. This, there's a clear teaching, there's a clear way out. I just need to practice it. I need to follow it. I need to get really good at this process of correcting my perception, or forgiveness, or letting go, whatever you want to call it. Okay, and yeah, so my mission is to bring this to the world, to clarify for a lot of people what is a mystery. They really don't know. Okay, well, actually, it's quite simple. If you explain it and you break it down, you have these diagrams, it's okay, I'm getting the picture here. This is actually not difficult to understand conceptually. And I understand now what I need to do to escape, from all the pain and suffering of this world. So let me just get busy doing it. I've got to learn this. That's the purpose of my life, is to learn how to forgive or correct my misperceptions. Okay, how am I going to do that? Well, here's a course. It's 365 lessons in training your mind, exactly how to do this, plus a text with a theory. So the theory starts to teach you the truth, and then the course, the lessons are how you practice the truth, how you actually apply it in your daily life. Okay, now you're getting somewhere. You've got a good process for this process of freeing your mind or awakening. Okay. So happy with number 8.
Mm-hmm.
Go to number 9. But to translate here, so let's read both the original and alternative. Do you want to read alternative or original?
I'll do the original, yeah. The body is outside you and but seems to surround you, shutting you off from others and keeping you apart from them and them from you.
The body is, say, apparently outside me and only seems to surround me. But only seems to surround me. Control Z. Shutting me off from others and keeping me apart from them and them from me, from other other bodies, from other seeming people, keeping me apart from them and then from me. So what differentiates you from another person? Well, primarily your body, doesn't it? Well, I have a different body from you, so I'm not you. Now, most people would go, well, duh, of course. Of course that's true. Of course it's saying no, maybe it's not true. Maybe that fundamental assumption that you are separate from someone else because you have a different body from them is false. So this is all part of the illusion. Okay, carry on. Number 2.
It is not there.
It is not really there.
There is no barrier between God and his Son, nor can his Son be separated from himself except in illusions.
There is no barrier between pure formless awareness and perfect love and its extension, nor can its extension be separated from itself except in illusions.
This is not his reality, though he believes it is.
This is not its reality, although it believes it is. So the sun is the one extension, right? This is the one mind that's seemingly separated from its source of pure awareness. So it's the in this diagram, the ego, the consciousness, the universal mind, the belief in separation, Satan, or the Son of God, right? This is the Son that has now believed that it's separate. The reason he uses Son is because it's the acknowledgement that the Son believes. This part of the mind believes that it's separate from its source. And the son must then return. Its only job is to return to the father. The prodigal son story tells that story very well. Son has gone down, has squandered its inheritance of perfect oneness, is now living in this alien world, living, a very degraded life, ends up with the pigs, not happy at all, realizes the error of its ways, and then says, well, I must return to my father's house. And that symbolizes the spiritual journey of awakening from the belief that you are a separate person, now apparently living separate from your source, to returning to your father's house means you return to the state of awareness. As pure formless awareness of perfect love. Realize that you never sinned. There never was anything that you did wrong because it's all a delusion. So much deeper meaning to that parable. Okay, what are we, number 3? Did we do number 3?
Yeah, I think we did. Yes, it's number 4, isn't it?
Yeah, 4. Yeah.
This is not his reality, though he believes it is.
Yeah, this is not its reality, although it believes it is.
Yet this could only be if God were wrong.
Yet this could only be true if pure formless awareness of perfect love were wrong.
God would have had to create differently and to have had separated himself from his son to make this possible.
Pure formless awareness of perfect love would have had to extend differently and to have separated itself from its extension to make this possible.
He would have had to create different things and to establish different orders of reality, only some of which we love.
It would have had to create different things and to establish different orders of reality. I would say change orders to levels that might be more helpful. What we were talking about earlier, different levels of reality, only some of which were love. So say, okay, well, the physical levels of love, maybe there's a higher level, the astral level, the subtle level, or the causal level, whatever you want to call it. Some of that's love and some of it's not love.
Mm.
But then yet he corrects that misperception in number 8.
Right.
So you want to read that?
Yeah. Yet love must be forever like itself, changeless forever and forever without alternative.
Yeah, that love must be like itself forever, changeless forever and forever without any alternative, right? So there's no alternative, there's no variation, there's no shift, there's no change. That's all part of the delusion. Very, very simple, but in a world of separation and change where everything's changing, to realize this is awakening. To realize this is going beyond the world's thought system entirely. All right.
And so it is.
And so it is.
You cannot put a barrier around yourself because God placed none between himself and you.
I cannot put a barrier around myself because pure formless awareness of perfect love placed no barrier between itself and me.
Can I read that?
Yeah, you can read it in the alternative
Yeah.
on the top.
The body is apparently outside me, but only seems to surround me, shutting me off from other seeming people and keeping me apart from them and them from me. It is not really there. There is no barrier between pure formless awareness of perfect love and its extension, nor can its extension be separated from itself except in illusions. This is not its reality, although it believes it is. Yet this could only be true if pure formless awareness of perfect love were wrong. Pure formless awareness of perfect love would have had to extend differently and to have separated itself from its extension to make this possible. It would have had to create different things and to establish different levels of reality, only some which were love. Yet love must be like itself forever, changeless forever, and forever without any alternative. And so it is. I cannot put a barrier around myself because pure formless awareness of perfect love placed no barrier between itself and me. So it's just saying again about the body, how it's apparently outside us, but does seem to surround us, but shutting us off from other people, apart from them, and them apart from us. So there's no barrier between pure formless awareness of perfect love and its extension, but except in illusions. This is not reality, although the body believes it is. But this can only be true. Pure formless awareness of perfect love were wrong. So there's never been a separation between this awareness of perfect love and its extension.
Mm.
We create different things, establish different levels of reality, and some of which were love. Is this astral projection thing? It's interesting, that astral projection. Yeah. Even though I know it's part.
Yeah, you see the mind gets fascinated by this. Oh, yeah, but there's different levels, and there's this whole like, and then we make up, multiple levels of reality, and we say, well, if we're really into astral projection, you say no, but the astral realm is where it's all at, and it's amazing, and like the colors are so amazing, and it's dirty, and you're free because you can fly, and but you're dreaming, you're still dreaming, right?
Yes, yeah,
When
yes.
you're dreaming at night, you're actually in the astral world.
Oh, yeah,
There's
but
no physical movement. Your body's asleep. Your body's not doing anything, but your mind is going all over the place, doing all kinds of things in the dream, right? So you're in another reality, but that's not reality. That's just another dream world. That's the astral level. So Jesus is just saying that, it's all just another version of the dream. A dream is a dream is a dream. Don't get caught up with dreams and making them real, because they're not real. They never will be real. But the ego is very cunning. So the ego can take you down a track and go, oh, astral projection's the answer. No, you got to learn astral projection because there's reality, there's salvation. You'll find it there. There's some value in realizing that you're not a body, for sure. It's part of awakening to the truth that you're not a body. But then you can get stuck into another illusion. oh, now and this is where spiritual ego comes in. Now I'm superior to all the people who believe they're bodies because
Yeah.
I'm in the astral realm, and I'm so. I mean, you've seen this, haven't you? You see it in spirituals.
Mm.
Oh, I'm the great, astral projector, and I can do all this amazing stuff. And you develop a following because people go, oh, you must know what you're doing. You can astral project,
Mm.
so I'll follow you because you must know the truth.
And
But actually,
OBEs,
often not really.
OBEs, it's the same, really, because I
Mhm.
know the OBEs, out of body experiences. I can't remember as a young
Out
child
of body.
I've had that experience, but again, still part of the dream. Yeah, yeah, I've got you.
So these things can be useful to go, well, if I've had an OBE or an NDE or an astral projection experience, I
Mm.
have to start realizing that I'm not a body.
Yeah.
That's part of awakening. Yeah,
The,
great. But don't
yeah.
get stuck there. Don't go,
No,
oh, the
no,
answer is in the astral
no, no. But it was a pleasant experience, I have to say. Yeah, it was pleasant. It certainly
realm.
wasn't.
Yeah. You felt liberated from the body. So it
Yes,
would be.
yes,
That's
exactly.
the,
It was a bit
the
of a
liberation.
thing.
It's a transcending of the body.
Yes, it
And
was
so
like
it is
feeling of
a sort of,
flying.
but
Yeah.
there's no doubt it's taking you in the right direction. It's a glimpse, it's an opening of the mind
Okay.
into a higher reality.
Mm.
So it's part of a process, but it's not the ultimate destination. This is where people get confused.
Mm.
The answer doesn't lie in astral projection. It's just a part of the awakening process.
Mm.
Ultimately, the answer lies in God or pure formless awareness of perfect
Got you.
love.
Yes. Yeah.
That's ultimate reality. You said some guys saying there's an absolute reality beyond the absolute.
Oh yes, this Sudan.
Well, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be absolute reality, would it? If it's beyond that, it wouldn't be absolute. Then that wasn't true. That was just part of the illusion.
Yeah. Yes.
Absolute reality means it's absolute. It's the end. There's nothing else. You
Yes.
can't go anywhere else. The final, awakening to true
It's
reality,
obviously,
to who you really are.
I think it's a religion or Muslim or Quran or something they call it. Quran or something. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, it's just another name for another religion, I think. And he was obviously trying to convert us all. He ended up in
Mm.
a completely wrong group. Yeah.
Right. And
Yes.
say this is better because this is like the infinite beyond the infinite.
Yeah.
Okay, you think you've got infinite absolute truth. Well, I've got something even greater. It's more infinite than yours. But
I
that's
know.
ridiculous because infinity is infinity.
And that's it.
Eternity is
Full
eternity.
stop.
It doesn't there are no degrees. You see what I mean? You're caught
Yes.
up in illusion still because there are
Yeah.
no degrees in infinity and eternity. It's one whole awareness. There's nothing else beyond it and beside it. So the idea of degrees, orders of reality, and that is meaningless.
Mm.
It's one complete whole reality, and there's nothing else. And you can't segment it, and you can't put it into levels, and you can't fragment it, and you can't categorize it. Otherwise, it's not truth. It's not absolute reality. That's what he's trying to teach us here. So there's the world of duality, and that's everything that's seemingly separate, and all the delusions that go around that, and the body is a big part of that. And then there's the absolute truth of pure formless awareness of perfect love, which has no barriers, no levels, no separation, no barriers. None of that exists in that awareness. Place no barrier between itself and me, because I am it and it is me. Right? So Jesus said, I am one with the Father, and the Father is one with me. People went, blasphemy. No, he was just stating the truth of his own true awareness. So that is actually the case. How can that awareness not be in you? If that awareness is everywhere, how can that not be in you? It's not possible. So the real blasphemy is saying, no, God isn't in me. God is somewhere outside of me. That's blasphemy. That's not true. But there were minds in that time still that don't want to accept that simple truth. And they want the barrier around it. They want the body to be real because that gives them an illusion of a separate identity. That's why they were so desperate when they crucified Jesus to go, well, let's find the body. Because that proves that he was a body, that proves that death is real, that proves that we actually did kill him. And then, oh, no body. Now what? You see, our whole paradigm with the resurrection, the whole paradigm is shown to be false. Okay, well, no body, so you can't actually really kill someone who's at that level. It's not possible because the mind cannot be killed. And they can just come back into a body if they want for a bit. He came back for a bit just to show us, and then went. Okay, there's no point hanging around in a body anymore. I've just showed my disciples what they needed to know, and now it's time to exit permanently. But he's still there in the eternal mind, still teaching us. Hence, we've now got this amazing teaching of A Course in Miracles, which we had to wait 2,000 years to bring to us because we weren't ready before. This kind of teaching, even now, people struggle with. Imagine 2,000 years ago.
Yeah.
They weren't ready for it. Even his disciples didn't really understand. So he's had to wait for people to be ready, for the world to be ready for this teaching, which it evidently is because we now have the teaching. He waited 2,000 years, and that's patience. Although on that level, 2,000 years is nothing. Time doesn't really exist, so it's not like he's waiting a lot of time because there's no time. So just kind of knows when to come in and access the dream at this point in time and bring this through at this point in time. How that all works, we don't fully understand. We don't have to, fortunately. We just have to do what he's asked us to do, which is to forgive our bodies and all of our other illusions. Okay, so happy to go on. Number 10. I'll read the original, you read the alternative. So you can stretch out your hand and reach to heaven.
I can stretch out my hand and reach to the state of pure formless awareness.
You, whose hand is joined with your brothers, have begun to reach beyond the body, but not outside yourself, to reach your shared identity together.
My hand is joined with my companions, and so I have begun to reach beyond the body, but not outside myself, to reach our shared identity together.
Could this be outside you?
Could this be outside me?
Where God is not.
Where pure formless awareness of perfect love does not exist.
Is he a body, and did he create you as he is not, and where he cannot be?
Is pure formless awareness of perfect love a body, and did it extend me as it is not, and where it cannot be?
You see, when you say that as pure formless awareness rather than God, it makes complete sense. How can a pure awareness of perfect love be a body?
True, yes.
It's ridiculous. It can't be. There's a clear contradiction. Pure formless awareness. Formless, it says there. It is formless. Well, you can't be in pure formless awareness and also have a body, which is form, because then by definition, you're aware of a form. So it's not pure formless awareness anymore. So how can the two really reconcile? They can't. That's what he's trying to teach us. So is it possible for pure formless awareness to create what it did? What it contradicts it? Did it extend me as is not and where it cannot be? No, this was a delusion. This was only my own misuse of my mind that did this. So you're surrounded only by him.
And I am surrounded only by it.
What limits can there be on you whom he encompasses?
What limits can there be on me when it encompasses? And from the top, I can stretch out
me whom it encompasses.
whom it encompasses. I can stretch out my hand and reach to the state of pure formless awareness. My hand is joined with my companions, and so I have begun to reach beyond the body, but not outside myself, to reach out our shared identity together. Could this be outside me? Where pure formless awareness of perfect love does not exist, is pure formless awareness of perfect love a body? And did it extend me as it is not, and where it cannot be? I am surrounded only by it. What limits can there be on me, whom it encompasses? So it's just saying we can reach out to this state of pure formless awareness, and our hand can be joined with our companions. So we've begun to reach beyond the body, but not outside the capital self, to share our identity together. And it's just asking, could this be outside of us, where pure formless awareness of perfect love does not exist? And it's and is pure formless awareness of perfect love a body? But as you say there, it's quite clearly saying formless, and it did extend it to me. It is not, and where it cannot be, but we're surrounded by it, all of us. So what limits can there be when we are encompassed all as one?
Yeah. So this is all there really is. And so how can anything really be real? The blue is the only reality, and all this is just a delusion. But to realize that is our job. That's our task in this. Because unfortunately, we've made all this real to ourselves. And now we've invented an entire alternative reality based on a separate self and all these false rules, and it all seems to happen and go on, and it keeps triggering us, and we keep suffering. And our only job is to recognize that it's all false, and that actually pure formless awareness of perfect love is still there. It's all encompassing. It lies beyond all this. That realization is forgiveness, or letting go. And so that's your only job, in the coming days when you're with your family and so on. Just realize that.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm not a body. None of these illusions that have been shown to me are real. So I don't condemn them because they're not real. How can I condemn what's not real? I just see that it's not real. See, that's the only judgment of the Holy Spirit. The judgment says it's not real, but there's no condemnation of the unreal because it's unreal. So why would I condemn what's not even there? Whereas judgment in the negative sense is the judgment that it's real, and therefore it needs to be punished, it needs to be condemned, it needs to be avoided. This is dangerous to me. I can't stand it. You get into aversion. I don't want it. You've made it real, haven't you?
Yeah, very
That's
much.
forgiveness to destroy. Instead of just going, but like just with a light little laugh, why am I going into this? It's just none of it's true. All these characters in the dream playing out these illusions. It's just not real. It's just characters in a dream. It's like your family, your sister, all your these special relationships. They're just characters in a dream. They're just made up by the ego to show you that its thought system is real. That's the whole point of it. If you buy into that, then you'll suffer because the dream isn't true. And if you can just transcend it and look on it correctly and go, but none of this is really true. That's the only judgment of the Holy Spirit. Forgiveness is always justified because none of it's true, irrespective of what these people are doing. And people on the level of form can do some pretty unconscious, unkind, unloving things. It doesn't matter. It's just a dream. And a dream is a dream is a dream, and it's not true. It has no effect on my true awareness or my true reality at all. So I can remain rooted in that even while these illusions play out, because I just don't have to be affected by them. That's forgiveness. That's what we study. So to actually do that, when you get these tests, special relationships and all the body issues and all the stuff that goes on in the dream, that's practicing this. Then you start to learn this course and you start to apply it. And then you start to experientially come to know that what Jesus is saying is true, that only pure forms of awareness of perfect love is ultimately real. Because as you let go of everything else, what is left but that? Right? If you drop everything else, what else remains but this? And so you come to your own experiential realization that therefore only this must be true. Because beyond all the illusions, there's still something. It's this awareness. Okay. Happy with number 10. Let's go on to number 11.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of paragraphs to go, 3 paragraphs, I think. So, shall I switch it again? Actually, not much to translate here. So do you want to just read an alternative?
Yeah. Everyone has experienced what they would call a sense of being transported beyond themselves. Yes. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. And this feeling of liberation far exceeds the dream of freedom sometimes hoped for in special relationships. Yeah. It is a sense of actual escape from limitations. If I will consider what this transportation really entails, I will realize that it is a sudden unawareness of the body and a joining of myself and something else in which my awareness enlarges to encompass it. It becomes part of me as I unite with it. And both become whole as I perceive neither as separate. What really happens is that I have given up the illusion of a limited awareness and lost my fear of union. The love that instantly replaces it extends to what has freed me and unites with it. And while this lasts, I am certain of my identity and do not want to limit it. I have escaped from fear to peace, asking no questions of reality, but merely accepting it. I have accepted this instead of the body, and have let myself be one with something beyond it, simply by not letting my awareness be limited by my body. So they're saying that all of us have experienced this sense of being transported beyond themselves. Yes. And the feeling of liberation far exceeds the dream of freedom, sometimes hoped for in special relationships. Yeah, I can relate to that. And it's a sense of actual escape from limitations. And it's realizing that it is a sudden unawareness of the body and joining ourselves with something else which our awareness enlarges to encompass. So it becomes part of us and we unite with it. So when we perceive neither is separate, then we are whole. What really happens is that we have given up the illusion of this limited awareness and lost the fear of union. And so while this lasts, we're certain of our identity and do not want to limit it. Yeah. Is that when you're in that permanent awakening? I guess. So we've escaped from the fear to peace and asking no questions of the reality. So yeah, that's the point where you've given up on all the questioning and just accepting it.
Yeah, he says while it lasts. So what he's saying is that, yes, this isn't necessarily permanent in your awareness. You can vacillate. You might go back in.
Yeah, I'm a classic example, yes.
Well, we all do. I mean, almost everyone does. There's very few people who just get it and then that's it. They stay, in this awakened state 24/7.
Mm, mm, mm.
We come and we go, and you can have these amazing experiences, and then okay, then the ego arises again, and challenges come, and then you've got to deal with those, and and that's a much more realistic picture of the journey of awakening. Then I'm just going to get it, and I'm going to wake up, and then boom, everything's going to be bliss after that. That's
Yeah,
very, very rare
but
that
this is
that
this is
happens.
what happens in this WhatsApp group, especially Ollie. Yeah, because I know I'd
Yeah.
asked a question, and even he just said, I noticed he's got here when I'd obviously must have mentioned that I was vacillating, and even he puts here, it was only to recognize this voice is a passing concept, not worth a single contraction. And he's saying to me, do you see it? Do you see my mind, the way it's behaving? He says, the merry-go-round that you can exit at any time just by seeing it in action. Yeah, but this is it. This group just does, yes, it sounds very great, yes, and I can see what he's saying, but sometimes the contractions just seem to be quite strong, and you can see it in action, but it's
Mm.
not, yeah. So this is what I mean about the group. Yes, it's all sounds very nice, and his wording is very encouraging, but a lot of us sort of think, yes, that's very nice, I like that, but it's still, those contractions are still coming back. But then he just
Yeah.
see it, and then, well, I suppose it's same with your course, let it go. But I think,
But then you see there's a step two. So awareness
yeah,
itself is not sufficient. It's necessary, but it's not sufficient. So I see it, I'm aware of it,
yes,
and then what do I do with it?
but this
And
is
if you don't have a practice of letting it go, well, how do I actually let this go?
that's,
You get
yeah.
stuck. Well, okay, I'm aware of it, so now what? Now what do I do with it?
Well,
Oh, well, the moment you see it, you've let it go. But
yeah,
that's not true.
he just seems very sort of, yeah. It just sounds like he's got it all. He just seems like he's just living his life in this
Oh, yeah.
awakening.
But it's very easy to say this, Elaine. Conceptually, you can
Right.
say this. It's very easy to say this, but to actually do it and live this way is another matter entirely. So
Yeah. Well, this is why some of
unless he's perfectly enlightened and he's at Jesus's level, which I doubt, but I mean it's possible. It
we
is
just,
attainable, but that is a very, very, very high level. It's very unusual
yeah. Well, he obviously is unusual
to
because
attain.
he's become the guru of the group, even though he's not the one who set it up. But his wording is, and I mean, it is encouraging. His wording is very,
But
very good.
but if you're good with words and concepts, you can spout all this stuff. It's
Yeah.
not difficult to say this kind of thing.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean the words, I've heard all these words before. It's all concepts. Yeah. So, and you can sound very smart and intellectual,
He does, yeah.
but um, but actually to really be helpful to people, you've got to give them a process that helps them to let go of that. Oh, well, the moment you see it, it's gone. That's not true. Like
Yeah.
what? Like, sorry, that just doesn't work that
It's a
way.
bit sort of almost
Okay, so I
like
can realize it.
yeah, it's a
It's
bit
all part of the
condescending.
process. The
Yeah.
moment I have awareness of it, but now how do I let this go? I'm aware of the fear. I'm aware of and maybe I can even conceptually be aware it's a
Yeah.
delusion, but it's still there. I still feel it.
Yeah. It is. It's just.
I
I
let it
mean,
go
he
now.
looks as though he's one of those that's really got it there, because even there he's got. It was only to recognize this voice as a passing concept, not worth a single contraction. But like my husband has just been murdered. Oh well, that's a concept. Just see it and then let it go. It just seems like it's
Yeah.
all a bit sort of a bit too. I don't know how
And what
I would describe it.
this can be. David Hoffmeyer says a word for it. He calls it metaphysical ghosting.
Right. Yeah, it
So
does
what
come
you
across
do
as
is
that.
you
But
ghost
like I
over
say,
the
it's
top
worth.
of it metaphysically. You say, okay, well you've had this trauma or whatever, but it's just a concept, so let it go. But you have to go through the trauma. You have to experience it and go, okay, so let's really go into that as part of this healing journey. Let's bring it up. Let's go into it. Maybe you've got to experience it
Mm,
again. It's not pleasant.
there's
But I've got
layers,
to, I've
this.
got to, I've got to really, go through this to get to the light.
Yeah. So, but the way he does it, it's very sort of very nonchalant, you know. Well, if you see it,
Metaphysical ghosting, yeah, because I don't really want to look and experience the pain and the suffering. So, oh, it's all just a concept, and you can just let it go like that. But
once you see
Jesus
it,
is not saying that. He's
yeah,
just saying, no, you've got to really look at the darkness, and it's going to be uncomfortable to look at the darkness because you've got to experience these things. You know, the pain, the fear, the grief, the guilt, the
yeah,
anger, the attack thoughts, and whatever comes up so that you can experience it. And now, but now there's another awareness of it.
yeah. I
You're not
think
just
when,
experiencing getting lost in that experience. You're going,
yeah,
okay,
I think, yeah. I mean, the chap Ollie, he did say that when he was going through the awakening period, he, you know, had obviously suffered physical problems and anxiety and the typical things that go with the awakening process. So he's not like all goody two shoes. He did have you know,
yeah,
obviously the
process.
dark
Yeah,
side that he went through. Yes, he has
yeah,
said that, but now he's come at the other end. But when he
yeah,
teaches what he's teaching, to those of us that are still vacillating, it can come across as a bit sort of a bit
yeah.
nonchalant, a bit sort of, well, yeah, okay, easy for you to say you've managed to get through it all. A bit of that feeling. Yeah,
Maybe he has, maybe he hasn't. You know, I'm sure he's still got some lessons.
yeah,
But this is, you know, the metaphysical ghosting that
mm,
David Hoffmeister, you know, that's what he calls it. It's a version of spiritual ego actually, because by doing this, you don't actually really transform. You don't actually really let go of the ego. It maintains itself.
mm, mm, yeah,
So you got to really like look at it and go through it, and that means working through it. Yeah. So you know you get uncomfortable, and you work through these things, and it's uncomfortable when you do it. And
mm.
it's not necessarily overnight that you'll just let it go. You know, the uncomfortable
No,
feelings
no,
can come again and again.
of course,
But
yes.
as they come, you go, I'm not just going to suppress these with metaphysical ghosting. So well, it's all just an illusion, and that's a concept, right? That's another concept. You see what I mean? So
Yes, yeah.
you're trying to get out of concepts with more concepts. Well, is that really going to work, or are you actually going to let go of those
It
deep
all,
dark thoughts
yeah, well, it all
and
sounds
release so
very
you come
nice.
to a feeling of peace?
Yeah, I mean, you read it and you think, oh, that sounds very nice. Yeah, I like that. But then when you come to the nitty gritty, it's still there, the contraction. So, yeah, you know, it's
Yeah.
all, yeah,
And you could say to him the next time, but it's all very well conceptually, Ollie, but you know, how do we actually do this practically? How do you actually let go
well,
practically?
I think he once sort of discussed something called TRE and somatic work and yoga and
Yeah,
yeah, he has mentioned
yeah.
those. Yeah, so I mean, it's not completely, yeah, but yeah, no,
Yeah.
but
So
he,
these are the practices that help you work through the stuff.
yeah, so you know, he
You
has
know, that's
mentioned
why
that.
spiritual
Yes,
practices were
yeah,
invented. It's like, well, you know, there's a process to letting go of the stuff, and these various modalities are
mm,
ways of doing that, ways of letting go.
mm.
And you know, they all have, if they help you really let go of the ego, they have a value.
Yes, yes,
Um, so you've got to find the modalities that you know that work for you. If TRE really works for you and it helps you really let go on a deeper level, so yeah, by all
go
means
for
do
that.
it.
Yeah, it's whatever modality that resonates
Yeah,
with. Mhm.
but you know, doing it within the framework of truth is important to
Yeah,
know that this is all just part of letting go. Right? These modalities are all part of the letting go process.
yeah,
So the modality in itself isn't salvation. It's just a way of getting to the truth. It's a
mm.
way of letting go of your darkness, getting to the truth. Then you don't get caught up in, oh, TRE is the answer. TRE becomes your God, or
Yeah. Well,
Vipassana.
yes,
You know,
of
I did the
course.
Vipassana retreat
And then
about.
it works,
And
and then
the
all of
practice becomes another false idol because the practice becomes everything. But hang on, the practice was just a means to an end.
yeah,
Practice was a way of letting go of the ego and healing your mind. It's not like, oh, now I'm going to get stuck into, I have to do the practice for 5 hours a day
yeah, yeah.
because
The
that's what
ritual, yeah,
has to, you know, it becomes ritualistic. And you
yeah,
forget that the practice is just a means of awakening to who you really are. If the practice can help you do that, great, but don't get attached to the practice because ultimately maybe you go beyond the practice. You don't need the practice anymore when you've awoken.
mm, mm,
But there's a process to it. So maybe you need the practice for a time and you need to do this until when you feel like, okay, I've done it and I don't have to do this practice. Maybe I choose to because it's really nice. That can be another subtle attachment. Oh, I like the pleasure of meditation. That's a subtle, in Buddhism, that's a subtle fetter. You can get attached to that as well. But yeah, that's very subtle, very high level stuff. What we're trying to do is just let go of the deeper, darker stuff. The fear, the guilt, the things that disturb your peace. If you can get really good at letting go of that, and you can stay in a peaceful state most of the time, you're doing pretty well.
Yeah.
And the subtleties will come. The nuances. Okay, well, maybe now I have the subtle pleasure in meditation. Maybe I need to let go of that as well. Yeah, okay, but that's quite a good place to be. It's not a bad thing to have
Why
to
not?
let go.
Yes. Yeah. So that's what you call a nuance. I know I keep hearing that word, nuances. So
yeah, that's a subtle fetter. In the Buddhist teaching of the fetters, that's a subtle fetter that you get to once you've let go of the really heavy dark stuff. Okay, so I'm not really anxious anymore. I'm not fearing. I don't have grief and guilt and all of these heavy emotions. I'm not really triggered very much by the world. I'm largely in a state of peace. Then, okay, so how do I liberate myself fully? Well, I've got to let go of that attachment as well, because ultimately the practice is just a practice, right? The being of who you are is always there, it's eternal. You don't need a practice to be that. So the ultimate awareness is like, I'm always there. I don't need to practice being what I am. I just am what I am. Right? That's where you're ultimately going with this, beyond practice. But that's a very high level.
Yeah.
So to say, okay, you're going beyond practice and you're still dealing with fear and guilt and grief is like, it's not appropriate for that level. You need to work through those things before you can even conceive of letting go of the practice. You see?
Yes.
So it's just levels on the journey. It's like where you're at, and accepting that this is a process and it's a journey, and that you've got to journey through it, and that's part of your process, and that's your life's journey. That's why you're here. You can't shortcut it and go, oh well, I just want to skip all that and I want to just go straight into pure formless awareness and stay in revelation forever, because it generally doesn't work that way. It's a process, it's a practice, and it's going to be, the practice of the rest of your life, and that's the only reason for your continuing existence here. It gives your life all the meaning that it really has. So why are you trying to shortcut that and fast forward it? Now, if you got to full enlightenment, there wouldn't be really any point in hanging around anymore. People who awaken fully, well, why would you stay for much longer? Maybe a teaching function. Jesus stayed for 3 years, but that was it. He was out. 3 years was enough. He was like, well, I'm not going to stay for a long time because he's transcended this realm. He doesn't need to be here anymore. He just needed to finish his work. That's why the cross, his final words were like, it's done. It's over. And he kind of breathed a sigh of relief, his last breath, and then that was it. And he was like, okay, I've done what I needed to do. I've gone through this horrendous experience. I've done what I was called to do. And now it gets easier because the body's free of the body. The resurrection, he knew that was going to happen, but he had to go through, the pretty awful experience of the crucifixion. We don't know how awful it was for him. Maybe, he was so in higher awareness that it didn't really affect him. But nevertheless, there's got to be some awareness. You still have to go through the process of carrying the cross and being flogged and hammering nails into your. I mean, there's going to be some awareness of all that happening.
Yeah.
Couldn't have been pleasant, right? Maybe he transcended pain. Maybe he didn't suffer physical pain, or maybe that was still there. But he was able to stay at the higher level of awareness through that whole experience, and that was his kind of final test. But what a test! I mean, okay, like taking it to the max, right?
Certainly, yes.
Fortunately, we don't have to do that. He's saying you don't have to repeat my experience. Thank God. He wouldn't have many followers. He said, well, you all have to be crucified. We're just going, you got to be kidding me. I'm not doing that. That's too much. He did that for us. as a very high level demonstration of these teachings to show us that it can be done even in these extreme situations where pretty much the worst thing that can possibly happen to you as a human being, as a body, is happening, and you can still apply these teachings and hold to the truth and go beyond the body. So the reason why we listen to him as our teacher is because, well, look at what he demonstrated. He demonstrated all of the stuff so clearly that we follow him because, well, he was a master. Evidently, anyone who can go through that and then resurrect, okay, well, you got my attention, right? If you can do that, then you got something that I don't know how to do yet. So I'll listen to you as my teacher and my guide and my mentor, because you know what I don't know yet, and you can help me to learn that. Okay, and he doesn't have any ego left, which unfortunately is not the case with most spiritual teachers who still in a body. They still have their own ego and their own stuff to work through. That doesn't mean that what they're saying is untrue always, but you just have to be aware of, okay, they still have their own lessons to learn. They're still working through their own ego. And that ego can present itself in many ways. The spiritual ego, metaphysical ghosting, it gets quite tricky and cunning at that level, because it can seem to be the light, but it isn't. And that's what we'd call Luciferic. Lucifer is the darkness appearing to be light that can fool people without discernment. But if you really look into that, you go beyond the illusion of light, you can see the core of the separation there, darkness. So you got to just be aware of that. That can happen. I've seen it very, very clearly, particularly on one occasion. I think I described that situation where the teacher was teaching supposedly the light, and it was like, oh, actually it's really quite dark, and the inside. This is exactly what the Luciferic delusion is. It's appearing to be the light, but it's darkness, and it's confusing people. It's because they think this is the light, but it's actually darkness. It's the ego in disguise, showing itself to be the light, attracting people, but at the core of it, there's a lie. And I saw through the lie. Most people didn't, and he didn't like me because I saw through the lie. And I questioned it. And he said, just zip it. Just shut your mouth and zip it, because I don't want to hear. I don't want you to challenge the lie in front of everyone else, because that's uncomfortable. Then he's got to defend the lie, which isn't easy to do. At that point, I was only 3 years into my journey with the course. Probably wasn't strong enough to take him on and go, okay, I'll just have a public debate with you in his domain, right? And he's got all of his cronies. There's like 20 people who are helping him, and it wouldn't have been appropriate. It would have just been like, everyone would have gone, what are you doing? You're just being an idiot. Sit down and shut up, and you came to learn. Just learn what this guy's got to teach you. So I kind of went. I just went, all right. I will zip it, and I'll just go through the process, because there's something for me to learn here. I'll humble myself. I'll go through the process, and I got a miracle on the last day of the workshop, which showed me this insight, which is a really valuable insight. And I got a great miracle. I told you about the miracle of the book, where this book appeared that I'd taken out. And then it appears in the boot of my car. I'm like, how the hell did it get there? I have no idea. Just totally like left field. One of those, it's happened a couple of times, where you just go, that doesn't make any sense. I can't explain that at all. By the laws of time and space, there's no way my book should have been there, but it was. So how did it get there? Who knows? That's the miracle. We can't explain these things, but that showed me that what I'd experienced, the suspension of all the laws my body obeys, as he says here, showed me that the experience that I'd had was true and authentic, and that the insight I'd had was true. All of that was a really useful part of my learning, to go, okay, what's truth and what's not, and what do I want to be as a teacher, and what do I not want to be. This guy had studied A Course in Miracles apparently for 11 years, And then he's teaching, and I'm going, you're not teaching A Course in Miracles. This isn't what the Course is teaching at all. That's why I challenged it. And then he just told me to zip it, because on some level he knew that he was being inauthentic.
Yes.
And anyone challenging that, then just gets suppressed. And that's how you know if it's Luciferic. Whereas truth just welcomes and says, yeah, fine, any question, I'll take any question, I'll answer it, because the truth is true and it needs no defense. And the truth is easily recognizable. It can easily be demonstrated. It's only if you're defending illusions that you're going to struggle to defend them, because they're not true, right? So the defense of illusions is, well, just shut up. I don't want to hear it, right? And that's how all oppressive regimes work. If you look in the world, when people speak the truth, they just say, shut up, silence you, censorship, we'll silence you, we'll censor you, we'll kill you, just to shut you up, because we don't like the truth. So the best way of doing this is just shut you up, however we do that. That's when you know it's illusion. But the truth just says, well, the truth is true, and I welcome whatever. If you're going to argue against it, that's fine. We can have that debate. I'll answer your questions. If you want to believe in an illusion, I'll debate that, because I've got nothing to hide, nothing to defend. I know that the truth is true. It's why Jesus would debate with the Pharisees and the Sadducees at length, right? He had some pretty hectic debates with them, because he knew that what he was teaching was the truth, and he was willing to go up against the illusions without fear, just knowing, because I know that what I'm teaching is true, and what I'm arguing is true. So nothing to defend, and his teaching holds to this day because it was true. It would never have held up over thousands of years if what he taught hadn't been true. The untruth of the Pharisees and Sadducees was what actually was revealed over time to be untrue. The world pretty much universally acknowledges now, okay, that was untrue. Maybe not universally, maybe some people in a certain religion that might say that's not the truth, and the Pharisees and Sadducees were correct, but largely people have gone, yeah, we see through the lie that they believed in, and that Jesus came to teach a higher truth. That's now been pretty much universally acknowledged and that's the foundation of Christian teaching, Christian religion. Anyway, we're kind of going on, bit of digression, but anyway, it's all interesting. So let's go to number 12 then. This can occur. So just read the alternative, I think.
Yeah.
I should translate there.
Yeah. This can occur regardless of the physical distance that seems to be between me and what I join with our respective physical space. Differences in size and seemingly quality. Time is not relevant. It can occur with something past, present, or anticipated. The something can take the form of anything and be anywhere. A sound, a sight, a thought, a memory, even a general idea without specific reference. Yet in every case, I join it without reservation because I love it and want to be one with it. And so I rush to meet it, letting my limits melt away, suspending all the laws my body obeys, and gently letting them go. Well, this is a nice paragraph. So all of this can occur regardless of physical distances that seem to be between us and our companions. And time is not relevant. It can occur with something past, present, or anticipated. The something in quote marks can take the form of anything and be anywhere, a sound, a sight, a thought, a memory, even a general idea without specific reference. Yeah. So we join with so we want to rush to meet it and letting our limits melt away and suspending all laws and gently letting them go. Yeah.
So none of these, physical limitations matter. Doesn't matter where you are in space, time, size, distance. And this something can take the form of anything. Anything in anywhere, a sound, a sight, a thought, a memory, even a general idea without a specific reference. So this something is a pointer to truth, right? What he's talking about is a signpost. The something. I'll make it a small actually, because capitalization is level 1. So the something is, let's just add in, is a sign post, right? Does that make it clearer? That can take the form of anything and be anywhere. So it could be a sound, it could be a sight, it could be a billboard, it could be a song, it could be a memory, it could be an idea that comes into your mind. But when it comes as a signpost to the truth, he's saying join it without reservation, because you love it because of its source and you want to be one with it. So you rush to meet it, letting my limits melt away, suspending all the laws my body obeys and gently letting them go. So for instance, I mentioned that instance of the miracle of the Course in Miracles reappearing in my boot. That was a sign that showed me. And then when I came back to my car, it was literally covered in these yellow flowers. It was spring at the time in South Africa, just covered in these yellow flowers. And this, it was like anointed. And the lady I was with, my assistant at the time, was like, yeah, that look, it's like the car's been anointed, and more than other cars, there, but mine was like just covered in these. And it was like, well, that's a signpost, right? And I was like, okay, wow, notice it, because these are the things that are showing you something deeper is happening. Then I opened the boot and this course is in there. I'm like, how the hell did it get there? I left it in the hall, and in the reception area of the hall where we were doing this workshop, and I couldn't find it. So someone must have put it back in my boot. But I'm going, that's weird. How would anyone know that that's my car? And my keys have been locked away the whole day. They took the keys and they put them in a safekeeping somewhere. So who would do that? Who would go, okay, I've got to find the keys, and I know that it's your car, and I'm going to unlock the car, and I'm going to put it in, and like, who would do that? No one. Like no one physical was going to do that, because no one had the awareness to do that. The lady who I'd brought the course for, I asked her, I said, have you seen it? She said, no, I haven't seen it. Well, if she'd done that, she was the only person who could have done it. She would have said, no, it's fine. I just put it back in your car. She didn't say that. So like it didn't make any sense from the laws. Then he says, all the laws my body obeys just kind of melted away. I'm like, well, that's impossible by the laws of the body. By physical laws, how does a book get from another location? It was only about 100 meters away. But how does it transport from 100 meters away and go through the physical, barrier of the boot, the glass of the boot into? How does that happen? I don't know. I have no idea how that happens.
Mystery.
Yeah, and it will always be like, well, that's a miracle, right? You can't really say, because the laws that your body obeys are clearly then can be broken. A miracle like that shows you that these laws can be suspended, they can be broken, and therefore they're not real. So I've had a couple of these experiences, and they were just signposts to show me the truth that lay beyond them, to go, yes, okay, thank you, I see it. And I remember driving away and going, that makes no sense at all. How did that get there? And then as I'm driving, it sort of dawns on me, okay, this is a miracle. Like, I can't really explain it in any other way. It makes no sense that a person would have done that. A skeptic would say, well, someone did it. I'm like, well, who would do that? Who would know that that's my book and that's my car and then they're going to go find my keys and they're going to go unlock it. And they're going to put it in the boot and they're going to go put my keys back. Like, who would do that? Why wouldn't they just say, look, Jono, here's your book. I just kept it safe for you. Here's your book. Take it. You know what I mean? Of course, why would they go to that trouble? So it was like that whole thing was a sign for me, a signpost to show me the truth of love, that there's something deeper beyond what I'd seen in the workshop, this falsity. And it showed me that the insight I'd had was true. Well, I said, okay, well, give me a sign then. You know, if this insight is true, then show me that it's true. I want to know. Like I was in that questioning stage. Show me that what I'm seeing is true, that I'm not just reacting egoically and going, okay, well, I can't stand this guy, and I'm going to show me that this is a genuine insight, and you know, and then that just happened. Okay, in the presence of a lie, the truth disappears. So the course has to disappear, but then it's not useful for me to lose the course because I'm using it. So it reappears. It's given back to me, which is then the miracle of saying, well, you know, actually, your insight was true, and that the truth does transcend all of this. So this is exactly what he's talking about, and that's an example of it. So I rushed to meet it, letting my limits melt away, suspending all the laws my body obeys, and gently letting them go. Those kinds of experiences were what's essential on this path of awakening, because it made me realize that, yeah, there was something else, and that I could see that demonstrably. That how could I explain these experiences if there wasn't something else? Couldn't. Didn't make any sense. And so then your faith is strengthened. You don't need many of these. I've only had a couple of those experiences my whole life. Quite early on in my journey, I haven't had any of those for a while now, because obviously I don't need them. If I needed them, they'd come. So, all right. Is that clear, Elaine? Understand that?
Yes,
Happy
yes.
with that? Okay, so number 13 then. Again, read it in the alternative. There's no violence at all in this escape.
There is no evidence at all in this escape. The body
No
is
violence. Yeah, no violence at all.
Oh, yeah, sorry. There is no violence at all in this escape. The body is not attacked, but simply properly perceived. It does not limit me merely because I do not want it to do so. I am not really lifted out of it. It cannot contain me. I go where I want it to be, gaining, not losing, a sense of self. In these moments of release from physical restrictions, I experience much of what happens in the holy aware moment, the lifting of the barriers of time and space, the sudden experience of peace and joy, and above all, the lack of awareness of the body and of the questioning whether or not all this is possible. So it's just saying that there's no violence in this escape. Body's not attacked. It does not limit us merely because I do not want it to do so. So we're not lifted out. It cannot contain us. So I go where I want to be, gaining. So in these moments of release from physical restrictions, I experience much of what happens in the holy aware moment, the lifting of the barriers of time and space. Yes, so the sudden experience of peace and joy arise in this holy aware moment. The lack of awareness of the body and of the questioning whether or not all time is possible. So when we lose all the questions and unaware of the body and we're in that holy aware moment, then that's where the peace and joy is.
You find that, whenever you have a genuine spiritual experience, you will have more peace and joy, almost certainly. And that's, you sometimes talk about fireworks. That's the fireworks. That just that really nice feeling is actually what it's about.
Well, I think it's just the comparison of all the contraction and the,
Yeah.
guilt and fear and all of that.
Yeah.
That's when it feels like
It's the contrast.
yeah, that's more that
Yeah.
rather
It
than the
feels like it's the
fireworks.
contrast. You go, wow, like I've been really struggling, and then suddenly,
There's
oh,
just this quiet
I feel
stillness.
freedom. I feel,
Yes.
and you go, oh, that's so nice. Relief by contrast to what I've been experiencing.
Mm-hmm.
Huge relief. And it's the contrast that teaches us. If the
Yes.
contrast wasn't so extreme, you wouldn't really learn from it.
Mm.
But if you've been, really caught up in the grip of, let's say, a negative emotion,
Yes.
like fear, and then suddenly you liberate from that, and
Then that's when it
you feel
feels like
joy.
fireworks. Yes.
And it feels, it just feels, what a relief. It's like,
Yeah.
it's so amazing.
That's home. Yeah.
If
Yes.
you're really tired, you go to sleep. What a relief just to go to sleep. It's that kind of,
Yeah.
just what a great,
Yes, I know.
great
Yes.
sleep. I'm so thirsty. I'm dying, like really, really thirsty, and I have a drink of water. It's like,
I
that's
know. Yes.
amazing.
Yes, I know.
That
I mean,
water is just incredible,
yes. Or
because
when
of the
you,
contrast. When
yes.
you normally
Yeah.
drink water, it's not the same. It's the contrast of experience
Yes.
does
Yes.
it.
Yes.
On the other side of all the darkness of whatever the limitation is,
Mm.
lies this, contrast of liberating peace and joy, and you just got to trust that that miracle is always there.
Yes.
I know that's.
Trust.
I'm
That's
not,
the biggie.
not stuck in this darkness forever. There is going to be freedom from it. And
Mm.
the more you do that, and the more you experience the peace and the joy and the liberation, the
More
more you go,
trust.
well, that's there. It's always there. I'm just, okay, I got myself caught up in an illusion again, because that's what the ego does. But I know that the peace and the joy is there, and I trust in that. And I'm just going to work through this. I'm going to do my practice of forgiveness or letting go, and I'm going to work through this to get back to the peace and the joy, which I know is there because I've done this many times before. The more you do it, the more you start knowing, without a shadow of a doubt, that there's something beyond the limitation.
Absolutely.
And the
Yes. Yeah,
ego.
it is. It's interesting because I mean, obviously, now that I've been doing the course for a while, and there's many glimpses and many moments of that holy aware moment, but we still can get in that contraction. Yeah, that's the only thing, because I am well in truly trusted that holy aware moment, but still got a bit of work to do, as you say, because occasionally that contraction is a real force to be dealt with, if that's the right words to use.
Yeah. So what you need to do, Elaine, is get more consistent in your practice.
Yeah. Yes.
So that you're practicing
you've hit the nail on the
regularly,
head.
consistently, daily, doing the lessons, because that stops it, right? When those contractions start, the idea of doing the daily lessons and you're practicing it every hour is it stops.
I hadn't done the last, because obviously I'd been traveling, didn't get back. We didn't get into Newcastle at 2 a.m, so I didn't get, stayed in a hotel, so got, very little sleep. And then the next day, they were the same again. For some reason, we'd started our new pets at night, so no practice whatsoever. And I think
and then you become vulnerable to these contractions. Then the contraction isn't just, it arises and then you're aware of it, you practice and you let it go. In the moment, it arises and it gets stronger.
And because of the lack of practice,
it develops and you go deeper into it because you aren't practicing to let it go, right? So then it's got the chance to, like a weed, and it takes root in your mind. And if you don't uproot it, then it's got a chance to deepen and go, okay, well, there's fertile ground here, and I could grow, and I can, start developing a root system, and now it becomes more persistent. And
it's
the
true,
idea of this ongoing practice is, okay, a weed comes in, and you notice it, and you just take it out straight away. Right? So you're weeding your garden, the garden of your mind, all the time with this ongoing practice. That's why the ongoing, daily and even hourly, but certainly several times a day, practicing the lesson is important, because it's weeding.
Because you can get complacent, because you've done so much practice, 2 or 3 years of good practice, and then you have a few days.
And you go, I don't need to do it anymore. I'm okay.
That's right. Yes, yeah.
I've attained. Like, well, have you really attained? No. And even Jesus practiced. He had times where he took himself off and he would go and pray away from the disciples and from the crowd. Sometimes he'd take one or two disciples with him. But he went away from the crowds and the noise and, the exposure, because he was a very public figure. He went away from all that and just went, I
Right.
just need to go and connect again and, be on my own with my father, with my source,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
connect again with him. So he practiced, as high as he was, he
You
still
still
had
need
times where I need to get away from all this and I need to
to practice.
restore. And I need to go and pray or meditate and
Yeah,
connect
that's
with my
true.
source. So
Yeah.
even he practiced,
Yes.
because there would have been a recognition. Imagine, I mean, hectic life, what he chose.
Well,
Okay,
yeah.
so I'm always on the road, I'm traveling, and there's all these crowds and these people wanting
Oh
stuff from me
God,
all the
high prayer.
time. And
Yeah.
I'm this public figure, and I'm the Messiah, and everyone's wanting a part of me. It's been pretty hectic, It's like, okay, but I need to have quiet time. I need to get away from all this to restore my mind to its true place. And if I don't do that, I'm
Then
going to
it.
start going out of that. So
Mm.
he had his practice,
Right.
and that continued even as high, as he was. He didn't say, "Oh, I don't need to pray anymore."
Because now I
He
know.
did.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah, but even if you know it conceptually, it's very easy to lose that awareness and go, okay, I'm just feeling, out of alignment now. And
Mm.
when he started feeling that, I think that was when he right, I need to go and
It has some
restore my
time.
connection to
Yeah.
my source, my
Yes.
father, with
Yeah.
practice. And
Yeah.
you would do that. So it's an ongoing requirement. And this well,
Yeah.
just like,
No,
you
definitely.
need to brush your teeth and you need to shower and you
Of
need to
course.
exercise, you need to do these things, the ongoing practice. You don't say, well, I brushed my teeth once. Well, that's it for the month then. I'm done. I don't
Yeah,
have to
I
brush my
know.
teeth again.
Yes, of
Great.
course. It's a daily, daily
Of course not. It's a
routine.
daily practice. You've got to keep doing it.
Mm, mm,
So it's the same as spiritual practice. I've got to keep doing it and do it even when you think you don't need to do it, because
mm.
you do. You just need to keep reminding yourself, and you just keep needing to top up and reminding yourself of the truth and weeding the garden so that you stay vigilant, you stay aware, so that you don't allow the ego to come in and
Mm.
start doing this and go, okay, now I'm feeling down and depressed, and because I've
Yes.
allowed it to come in and
Mm,
plant a weed in my mind, and now it's 2 days into it and I just can't shake it, because
yes.
you uprooted it in the moment. Okay, it started coming in, you noticed it, you did
Mm,
your practice, you used the lesson, did a
mm,
breath break or a longer meditation, and you let it go.
yeah.
And then it didn't have the chance to take root.
Yeah.
So that's the next level for you. You know this stuff conceptually, but
Mm,
practice, 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 so
definitely.
that
Yes.
you don't give it a chance. You just,
Mm,
like, there's no fertile ground for the ego. The moment a weed lands and you become aware of it, you go, no, I'm letting that go straight away. I'm plucking that out.
mm, mm.
And then the ego's got no time and space in your mind. At the moment, with your lack of discipline in your practice, you give it the time and the space, and it comes in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
understand you're traveling and stuff, but that doesn't mean because you're traveling, your spiritual practice should stop.
It's true. Yeah. Which I haven't done any, no meditation, no breathing. Yeah. Just completely
Yeah.
stopped.
Hmm.
Yeah. And it's amazing.
So
Yeah.
don't stop. Go like, no, I'm traveling today. I need to do my meditation, to prepare myself, to get myself in the right
Yeah.
space, in the right zone. Because, yeah, challenges can come when you're traveling, you're going out of your comfort zone, all kinds of things can happen. I need to be in my right
Yes.
mind, and I need to be in flow, cope with it. So that's actually the time to practice, especially practice.
Yeah.
Whenever I go on a trip, it's like, no, I'm going to practice and do a meditation, and I'm going to ask for guidance. I'll ask the Holy Spirit to guide me. That everything is going to be guided by the Holy Spirit. And it's going to flow. And when I do that, I notice that makes a difference. The trip flows, and it's often quite miraculously so. I've described some of these examples where I literally walk and I get on the train, and it's like I didn't even break a stride. It was perfect timing. I
Mm.
arrive on the platform as the train's pulling in to get to London, and I just literally walk. The train stops. I didn't break a stride. I didn't pause. I just walked straight onto the train. It was like, couldn't get more perfect than
Oh,
that,
yeah.
right? And that was because I trusted the Holy Spirit.
Mm.
I trusted the guidance of what I needed to do. So I was prepared and I was ready, and I already got my ticket and was like, right, I'm just going to walk on and it's all going to be in flow. And if I hadn't done that, probably the situation wouldn't have worked out that way. I would have missed the train, or I'd have got there and I wouldn't have bought the ticket up front. And I would have gone, oh, now I've got to go get the ticket, but that's going to mean that I'm delayed on the train. So now I don't have, all that kind of stuff. But I just trusted and I listened to the guidance, and then it works. And those miracles are there to show you, look, yeah, do the practice, and it's rewarded in your experience, which actually saves you a lot of time, because you have, these difficulties and obstacles. It's a waste of time, and your experience of the whole situation is diminished. It's dampened. So the last 2 days, you could have been in a state of flow and joy, and you weren't.
Yeah,
because
yeah,
you didn't practice.
yeah.
And that's
Well, it's just,
a wasted opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the reward of the discipline is like, okay, it's going to give me this expanded, miraculous, flowing experience of life more often if I do that. So it's worth it. Yeah, there's a price to it. I've got to be disciplined. I've got to spend some time, but it's worth it, because my experience of life is then going to be an expanded one. And so I'll put in the time, because that's what I value. That's what I want.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so happy with that. Number 13, number 14. Then last one, and there's a little summary, and then we can do the lesson, which is a short review lesson, and we can wrap it up. Okay, so it's possible because you want it.
It is possible because I want it. The sudden expansion of awareness that takes place with my desire for it is the irresistible appeal the whole aware moment holds. It calls to me, to myself, within its safe embrace. There,
Be myself. Calls to me to be myself.
Oh, right. There, the laws of limitation are lifted for me to welcome me to openness of mind and freedom. I come to this state of refuge where I can be myself in peace, not through destruction, not through a breaking out, but merely by a gentle, a quiet melting in. For peace will join me there, simply because I have been willing to let go of the limits I have placed upon love, and joined it where it is and where it led me, in answer to its gentle call to be at peace.
Yeah, lovely. What's he saying there?
Well, it's just the sudden expansion of awareness that takes place with our desire for it, and the irresistible appeal of the holy aware moment, what that holds, which, yes, as you were saying, it is a great piece, yeah. And it calls to us to be this capital self within its safe embrace. And so in this state, the laws of limitation are lifted and welcomed with openness and freedom. So we come to this state of refuge where we can be our true self and in peace. So it's not through breaking out, but merely by a quiet melting in.
Yeah, sinking in, maybe might be
Yeah.
a better word. But you know what he's saying. It's like, I'm sinking in. So when people say, well, just feel it, feel into it, that's what they mean. Quietly sinking in to this deeper awareness. Beyond all the destructive thoughts of the ego lies this peaceful awareness, and I can just sink into it if I allow it. And there, peace is there, love is there. But it's an experience. That's what he's talking about.
Not conceptions.
This isn't a concept.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, you've got to go beyond concepts to the actual experience of, I feel that peace. It's not conceptual, it's just a feeling, it's an experience. Because you've been willing to let go of all the concepts that the mind believes in, and enter into the experience. Go beyond conceptual thought into pure experience. And this is the gentle call to be at peace. And in that experience, it's very, very simple. It's not complicated. The idea of spirituality being complex is crazy. It's not. Very, very simple. Because oneness is very simple. So I just experience this peace, and there's no complexity in it. And as soon as I introduce complexity, then I'm just disturbing my peace. That's just the ego coming back in. If I just sink into it and I allow that peace to enter, which is meditation effectively. That's what you're trying to do in meditation.
Yeah, yes.
Sink into peace, go beyond conceptual thought, sink into peace, and experience that peace. And even if you get a few moments of that peace, it's worthwhile. You've connected with this ultimate peace, which is the reward of truth. Yeah, so beautiful, lovely, and he's saying you can get beyond the body and all the laws of limitation. Just keep practicing. The more you practice, the more you're giving yourself the chance to go beyond all these limits and be at peace. By not practicing, you're saying, well, I want to stay in the ego. I want to stay in my vacillating and turbulated state, not at peace. And I prefer that state to the state of peace. It's just being aware of what these choices mean. Okay, so I don't want to practice. And don't blame the circumstance. Say, well, I'm traveling, so I couldn't practice. No, you could if you really wanted to.
Yeah, of course.
Make it a priority, you can. So it's just prioritizing and saying, this is the most important thing for me. My peace of mind is the most important thing because that's my awakening. That's my ultimate reality. That's my destination. That's the whole point of my life. So if I'm losing that, then I'm missing the point of my whole life. And then you feel that disconnection, the sense of being a bit purposeless and aimless, and that's part of the disconnection that you feel as a kind of negative state. Well, I don't feel quite as inspired as I used to, and feeling a bit negative and a bit challenged. That's all part of it because it's a false purpose that you're believing in, and somehow the world must give me peace. Well, of course, that's not going to work.
No.
It's only spirit going within will give you peace. Only letting go will bring you peace. Yeah. So practice because it's worth it. When you practice in a disciplined way, you say, "Yeah, this is worth it," and I value this experience of peace above all else. Above all else, one of the early lessons. Above all else, I want to see differently. Above all else, I want peace. That's what you're saying. Above any other desire, any other fear, any of the blocks, above all that, I want peace. And I choose peace in this moment by practicing. Okay. So let's read the summary and then we'll close it out. Quite a long summary, actually. It was quite long. So just read it and, any comments that you want to make, keep it fairly brief. And
paragraph by paragraph, just to go through it.
Yeah, I'll read one. I'll read one and you read the other. Okay, so I'll start. There is nothing outside of me, and the state of pure formless awareness is my ultimate realization. As it represents the restoration of my connection to perfect love, pure formless awareness is not a place or condition, but rather an awareness of perfect oneness. There is nothing beyond this oneness and nothing else within it.
The belief.
Okay, so in a sentence or two, what's it saying there?
Oh, I thought you were going to do that one.
Yeah. What do you want me to summarize?
Yes. Yeah, please.
Well, the whole idea is you summarize it so that there's learning. But okay, I'll help you out. We have been going a long time. So really just saying only perfect oneness is true. There's nothing beyond this. And really our only task is to restore our mind to that state of awareness of perfect oneness. Nothing else really exists outside of that. Okay, next one.
Yep. The belief that I can give and receive something other than pure formless awareness has caused me to lose touch with this state and my true identity. I have made a strange mistake by projecting guilt onto my body from my mind. However, my body itself is not guilty, it is merely a vehicle that carries out my mind's intentions. I deceive myself if I think I hate my body, or it is my mind that holds on to guilt and wants to remain separate. So it's just saying the belief that we can give and receive something other than pure formless awareness. As we've lost touch with our true identity, and we've made a strange mistake by projecting guilt onto the body and from the mind. But the body's not guilty; it's just a vehicle, and we deceive ourselves. Yeah.
The body does nothing. So people make the mistake and say, "Oh, my body craves this. My body wants this." You've heard this language, haven't you? People say this. No, your body doesn't want anything. That's ridiculous. It's your mind that craves, that wants, that desires, that fears. All the so-called intentions that you project onto the body are actually the mind's. They just seem maybe to operate on an instinctive level. Oh, I need food because I'm hungry. My body's hungry. No, that's not actually the case. It's your mind's interpretation of the sensation in your body that makes you hungry. If you didn't interpret the sensation as I need food, then what's the problem? You wouldn't need to eat. People say, "Well, but hang on, if your body doesn't eat, then you'll starve." Well, is that really true? Great masters who've lived on nothing, breatharians, they live on prana alone. They live on pure energy. So all the laws of the body start melting away as you do this, as he gets to the end of this, right? All these laws just fade away. Suspending all the laws my body obeys and gently letting them go. None of them really apply. They're all illusions. So minds are joined, but bodies are not. The perception of separation arises when I attribute the properties of mind to the body. My fragmented and private mind projects its guilt onto the body, causing it to suffer and die, and reinforcing the illusion of separation. Although my mind can create fantasies and direct the body to act them out, it is never satisfied with the body's actions. My mind's attacks on my body increase as it projects more and more guilt onto it. Okay? He's saying that the body is the source, is the target of the projection of the mind, and we project our guilt onto it, and then we suffer and we die because of the guilt. And the guilt is just being enacted and reinforced in and through these illusions of the body. So any sickness, that's a delusion. We mentioned cosmetic surgery and other body attachments. That's all part of the delusion that we are a body. And the more we do that, the more and more guilt we project onto it. So let's say someone goes for cosmetic surgery. They're actually believing they're a body, which strengthens the illusion of the body, which strengthens their guilt, and then they project more and more guilt onto it. So they might go for more cosmetic surgery and more, and obviously that has a downside, right? Too much cosmetic surgery is not good for you. I don't think any cosmetic surgery is good for you. You're pumping your body full of Botox and other poisons, and sometimes it goes disastrously wrong. You see people have had too much cosmetic surgery, and you go, God, what's become of you? You look like some weird, Michael Jackson et al. I've seen other people, and they just look totally weird, like inhuman, like these plastic doll figures, and that's when it's all gone horribly wrong, and the mind's projected more and more guilt. Often sickness results. The more you identify with the body, the more likely you are to get sick, to get injured, to age, to die. So paradoxically, they're trying to keep themselves young, but paradoxically, actually, they're aging themselves by a false thought system that's going to age the body more by buying into the illusion of a body and guilt. Okay, this next one. However, my mind is delusional.
However, my mind is delusional in thinking it can attack my body. It deceives itself by maintaining the illusion of attack, but cannot truly harm my body. The rejection of guilt onto my body does not eliminate it. Instead, it perpetuates the cycle of guilt. While my perception of the body can be distorted, I should not project the distortion onto the body itself. Pure formless awareness of perfect love extends only what it wants its extension to be. So the mind is delusional in its thinking that it can attack the body. It does deceive itself, but it can't truly harm the body. But the projection of guilt onto the body does not eliminate it. Instead, it perpetuates the cycle of guilt. Well, we shouldn't project the distortion onto the body itself. In truth, pure formless awareness of perfect love extends only what it wants its extension to be.
Yeah, so apples create apples. Pure formless awareness can't create anything else. It's only pure formless awareness. That's the extension of pure formless awareness, must be as its source, pure formless awareness of perfect love. So we are only that, and anything else is a delusion. As you said, the mind is delusional in thinking. It can attack the body. So anybody instead of my body. My or anybody. Burn or anybody. Yeah, so using my body as a scapegoat for guilt is insane and futile. My fantasies of vengeance have nothing to do with my body's actions and exist solely in my mind. By hating and identifying with the body I perceive as weak and treacherous, I've turned it against the extension of perfect love. I made the body a host for hate, preventing pure formless awareness and its innocent extension from entering my mind. We have all these fantasies, we hate ourselves, so we hate the body, we project our hatred onto the body, and then we suffer. The body then seems to suffer, the body gets, as we know, all kinds of things can happen to the body. It can age, get sick, it can injured, it can die. All of that is a projection of guilt onto the body. So the body is then a host for hate, preventing pure formless awareness, and its innocence extension from entering my mind. Okay, next one, to escape this self-created prison of hate.
To escape this self-created prison of hate, I must recognize that the body is not real, but an illusion of myself. Vengeance has no place in my true identity, and the body is not a barrier between pure formless awareness of perfect love and its extension. The body is outside me only an illusion, and there is nothing that separates pure formless awareness of perfect love from its extension except in illusions. It's just saying that to escape this self-created prison of hate, we have to recognize that in the body, that it's not real, it's an illusion, and vengeance has no place in our true identity. And the body is not a barrier between pure formless awareness and its extension. The body is outside of us, only an illusion. There's nothing that separates pure formless awareness of perfect love with its extensions, except in illusions. Yeah.
All of it's an illusion. Right? It's just a false projection of separation designed to keep us in the idea that we're separate from each other. Very effectively. I mean, the ego's done a good job, hasn't it? If you were going to want people to believe that they're separate, you'd create a bodies, wouldn't you? Put them in different bodies, which is exactly what's happened, seemingly happened in the dream world. Yeah. We've now apparently put our minds, which are actually unlimited and united with each other, and we've seemingly separated them and fragmented them and put them into bodies, which now appear to be more real than the mind. And that's the illusion that we live under in this world. But as you're saying here, fortunately, it's all an illusion. None of that's true. So the body is no more true than the idea of separation. In fact, it is fundamentally untrue because separation is untrue. But we've come so far down the ladder of separation. Now we're in a body at the bottom of this ladder. We've forgotten that really there's just one tiny mad idea behind it all. Because at each level, you see these dotted lines. That's the forgetting. It's amnesia. We forget what we've done to come down the ladder. So that gets walled off. And so most people living in a body have no idea that this is all just a projection of their own belief in separation, and that actually underlying it all is pure formless awareness of perfect love, which they've denied. They have no idea of any of that, do they? Mm. They just believe they're a body. And then, of course, we must meet the body's needs. And we've got all the issues that bodies have, and those seem to be real. And we have to spend our lives dealing with body issues, meeting the body's needs, avoiding pain in the body, seeking pleasure in the body, and so on. And that becomes then the purpose of our life in the body as an ego, which keeps us trapped in this whole system. Okay. So I can reach the state of pure formless awareness by extending my awareness, joining with the awareness that surrounds me. This joining occurs beyond the body, but within myself, as pure formless awareness of perfect love cannot exist where it is not. Sense of being transported beyond myself is my separate self, is liberation. It surpasses the dream of freedom found in special relationships. It says true liberation. It involves a sudden unawareness of my body, merging my mind with something beyond it, expanding my awareness and uniting both as a whole. And so just saying that joining occurs beyond the body. Our self is part of this joining. So look at this Holy Trinity diagram, explains it quite well. So as we let go of our body identification, we go up in our awareness into the true self. This capital self awareness now perceives the body in all these circumstances and situations in time and space correctly. So it can still perceive, but it also has this awareness of its source, that it is actually just this pure awareness. So this pure awareness is never separate from the true self. The true self is always connected to that. Christ, in traditional language, Christ derives its power from God, right? God is at a higher level than Christ. But the two are intimately connected. You cannot ever disconnect Christ from God, because this awareness is behind the true self. It's the fundamental awareness that makes up the true self that can now perceive the world of illusion correctly from the perspective of this awareness of perfect oneness. Okay, so this is the bridge we were talking about. This is how you actually do this, and you correct your mind systematically and progressively by holding to higher awareness, but through a true self that can perceive the world correctly. That perception is corrections, that's forgiveness, that's letting go. And that's what the Holy Spirit and this true self or Christ guides us to do. Okay, does that make sense, Ellen?
It does, yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Done just by extending my awareness. So asking us to go beyond the limitation, beyond level 2, correct our perception and start expanding our awareness. And at this level, we can get glimpses of our true self. So we get glimpses of this pure formless awareness of perfect love, which we might call a revelation. That can happen. It doesn't last, but it's a glimpse of the eternal absolute reality that lies even beyond the true self or the Christ. That's what he's pointing to here. Okay, so this transportation can occur.
This transportation can occur regardless of physical distance, time, or form. I can join with anything because I love it and I want to be one with it. It is not a violent escape. Instead, I merely perceive the body properly and trying to make that a bit bigger. It's not all small. And willingly let go of my. Oh, this keeps just pinching it out. It keeps going small. Yeah, this is not a.
I'm going to zoom it in.
Yeah, better because it's gone all small.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. So the transportation can occur regardless of physical distance, time, or form. I can join with anything because I love it and I want to be one with it. This is not a violent escape. Instead, I merely perceive the body properly and willingly let go of my limitations. In these moments, the barriers of time and space disappear and I experience peace, joy, and a lack of awareness of the body.
Yep, what's he saying?
Just saying we can join with anything because love and I love it and I want to be one with it. This is not a violent escape. Instead, it's merely to see the body properly and willing to let go of its limitations. And these moments, the barriers of time and space will disappear and we'll experience peace, joy, and a lack of awareness of the body.
Hmm. So this is what we call a spiritual experience, a moment of satori, where you just that's what a lot of people are looking for. It will come as a result of the work that you've done, the spiritual work. Do the work and come. I had an experience like that after 9 days of meditation. I had to go through the limitation of the body and my body sore and all this meditation, all this discipline, hours and hours of meditation every day. And it was like the contrast, and then suddenly, the kind of explain the experience of that sense of not being limited by this body is wonderful. It was almost like the contrast between, all of that body awareness and like, the pain of the body and sitting in hours and hours of meditation, and then the freedom from that was just the contrast was what made the experience so remarkable.
Mm-hmm.
Right, in that, because in that moment there was no body. The body awareness, all awareness of the body disappeared.
Yeah.
There was no body anymore. I wasn't even in the room anymore. I was just in this pure awareness. That's where the name pure formless awareness came into my mind. It's like, well, how do I describe it? Pure formless awareness. No awareness of the body remained. I wasn't aware of the body. I wasn't aware of anything in the room. I wasn't aware of, I just went away temporarily into this pure, peaceful, blissful awareness. But I wasn't asleep. I was still aware. I was awake, but it was a different kind of awake.
Yeah, but there was no general ego thoughts. Yeah.
Yeah, in that moment, pure formless awareness, there was no thought. I wasn't thinking at all as we were thinking. There was no, I'm now, I wasn't going, oh, this is nice. I'm now in
yes, I see
pure awareness.
It just
was what it was. Right? It was and I started to think again after, I don't know how much time, there was no sense of time. It wasn't very long, but maybe it was a minute, maybe it was 5 minutes, maybe it was 10 minutes. I don't know. Because there was no awareness of time. But I came back into thinking, and then there was this reinterpretation of the whole dream that started happening. So the Holy Spirit kicked in,
downloaded,
and this reinterpretations correction started happening, and this that's symbolized by these blue arrows. Like, okay, there's now a transmission, a communication going on from one level to another. A download. Yeah. It's like, okay, I'm just kind of getting this. That's where these diagrams come from. Try and symbolize that. The blue arrow is like, yeah, I went into pure formless awareness, stayed there for a bit, and then when I came out, there was this massive download of like, okay, I'm just understanding this whole thing on a different level. So that was the reinterpretation of the ego's dream by the Holy Spirit, the Remembrance of Perfect Love, because I just had this direct experience of perfect love that was very strong at that moment. Then this Holy Spirit could come in and say, right, now let's show you how to interpret this dream correctly. And that was the download. Just like suddenly the course made sense. Suddenly all of this made sense. Okay, I'm actually getting this finally on a deeper level. And largely, this whole course and program has come out of that realization. If I hadn't had that experience and that realization, I probably wouldn't be doing this. I wouldn't. Yeah, I'm certainly not at the same level.
No.
Okay, so I've got something very profound, and now I can teach it because I've understood it and experienced it. Now I'm in a position to teach it. You can't teach something that you don't know and you don't understand.
Yes.
So, the seminal experience, exactly what he's talking about here, sense of the limitations just being dropped, barriers of time and space disappearing. And then he says, this escape is possible because I desire it. Expansion of awareness that occurs in the wholly aware moment calls me to be my capital self. Within its embrace, my remembrance of perfect love invites me to let go of self-imposed limits, all my self-imposed limits, and enter a state of refuge where I can be at peace. So the inner refuge. Interestingly, Vipassana, they made you say a kind of affirmation or a vow that you seek refuge in truth, in Dhamma. They call it the truth Dhamma. Seek refuge in Dhamma. I seek refuge in Buddha, which is the awareness of truth, and I seek refuge in Sangha, which is in the community that supports you in your awakening to the truth. And they made you say that at the beginning of it. The idea that you're seeking refuge within, and that's exactly what the Course is saying. You can find refuge from this cruel, harsh world that you've invented within you, where you can be at peace. And that refuge comes when you're willing to let go of the world, restore your mind to the awareness of truth, and you will inevitably be at peace. And this transition is not achieved through destruction, but by a quiet melting in. So a quiet sinking into my true awareness, by releasing the limits placed upon love, and join it where it join it where it is in my own awareness, and experience the peace that awaits me in this state, in this expanded state. It's really pointing to a spiritual experience and saying you can have these spiritual experiences. So the key message, like the summary beyond summary. I left it as 2 paragraphs because we actually did a meditation on it. Probably did with you, which is 25 minutes on exactly these words. So just left them there. Normally the key message is only 1 paragraph. Okay, so let's read that. Let's read the last 2 paragraphs. That's the final summary, key message.
Yes.
Just encapsulates it all, hopefully.
Yeah. I should not project guilt onto my body and try and get rid of it, because this will make my body suffer and be sick. This seemingly proves that my body is real and I am separate self that can be harmed and ultimately die. But I can reinterpret the body like all the instruments the belief in separation has made, with the help of the remembrance of perfect love, and perceive it as a means for awakening from the limits that the body represents. This is the body's only true function, and it will serve it well. If I allow the remembrance of perfect love to direct my words and actions, I do this consistently, I will be opening my mind to a mystic experience of joining with something or someone that will show me the laws that seem to govern the body are not real, and merging with the infinite internal love I will experience in the now. In this state of pure formless awareness, I will experience this deep peace and joy that this loving presence inevitably leads to, and free my mind from its belief in separation once and for all time. For all time, yes.
Yeah. So I'm going to just summarize that. Like really, if you're going to summarize this in 1 or 2 sentences, what is he saying?
It's just this rejecting guilt on the body and not trying to get rid of it, and just realize that it's like all the instruments the belief in separation has made. I mean, it's just saying that the only function of the body is will serve it well as the remembrance of perfect love, and to show us the laws that have governed the body that are not real, and merging it into the infinite internal love and experience it in the now, this wholly aware moment, into this state of pure formless awareness where there's deep peace and joy, and free the mind from the belief in separation once and for all.
Yeah, so when we liberate ourselves from the body, we can have these mystic experiences. We can have a moment of grace, satori, they call it in the East, where the limits of the body just lift and we can enter into this awakened type state, which feels wonderful, beautiful, very, very peaceful, very joyful. And that's a reward for letting go of the body, which then points us, it's a signpost to the ultimate truth beyond it. Just don't get attached to the signpost. Some spiritual seekers go, oh, that was such an amazing experience, I just want that again. I want that high again. And then they're disappointed next time. They go, okay, well, I'm doing my practice and I'm meditating, I'm not getting there. And I'm frustrated. You see what I mean? That's a subtle fetter. That's an expectation that I want joy and I want that bliss. But I'm not craving, I'm seeking, I'm desiring, which actually blocks it.
Yeah.
That's why ultimately you need to let go of it and just trust. If I keep practicing and I keep letting go, whatever experience I need to experience, that's what I'll have. If I need an experience of satori and this kind of lightness and freedom from the body, then that will come. If I don't, then that's okay too. I can just stay in relative peace. It's always what it offers you is peaceful, tranquil awareness.
Very good.
Okay. So yeah, anything else here, Len?
No, very good.
Good session, simple
Yeah,
message, but
very good. Yes, always.
the journey. When we read the text like this, it's part of a process, right? You go through the process and you get out the other side 2-3 hours later, and
You do, yeah. No,
it's very different. We've been going 3 hours, so long. It was a long session, but there's
actually, longer.
something that happens when you do that.
No, it's longer.
Yeah, just on this text, we've been doing 3 hours. We've done an expression that was an hour and a half before that.
Yes,
So
yeah,
a long time, but all part of the process of working through this stuff.
it is. Yeah,
And
I think I probably need it because obviously without the practice, you do quickly stuck in the ego. Yeah, so that's very good.
Yeah, you probably needed it. So
Yes.
that's why you've got to correct your mind and restore it
Yes.
back to the truth. Okay. So that's the text done.
I need to just go to the
this.
bathroom. Just need to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, that's fine. Do that. And shall we just do the lesson? It's quite a short lesson and a meditation. We'll close it.
Yeah, just do that quickly. Yes, and then because I'll make some dinner after that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okie doke.
Cool. All right. See you in a few minutes.
Right, back.
Okay.
I'm ready. Yeah.
There, Elaine.
Yeah,
Let's have a
I'm
look
here.
at lesson 150. Um,
You want me to read it?
yeah, just give me a moment.
Mhm.
Just gonna do this. We're in lesson 150, which is the last of the review lessons. Let's just go down to, well, actually, you can just read it here. We won't go through the whole
No, because
introduction to it.
I'd like to be finished by 8 o'clock if possible. Or
Yeah,
yeah, because I've got a little bit of dinner to make.
yeah. Okay. We just do a quick meditation. So yeah,
Yeah,
just these are the key ideas
yeah.
we remind
Uh,
ourselves of.
my mind awareness holds only what I think with God. Perfect loving awareness.
Yeah,
Accept
so
it.
just
Oh,
pause.
oh,
Yeah, just
sorry.
pause that. Let's discuss that briefly.
Mhm.
So my mind or my awareness, that's the translation of it, the alternative version, holds only what I think with God. Now, for a lot of people, that's like, well, what does that actually mean? You know, how does God think? But if we translate it as perfect loving awareness, so okay, so what would perfect loving awareness think? Now you're starting to get somewhere. Perfect loving awareness doesn't have thoughts of fear, attack thoughts, grievances, desire, fear, guilt, and so on. It doesn't have any of that. It's just a perfect loving awareness that is aware of what's going on in the dream, but reminds the mind, your true awareness, that there's really only this awareness, that only perfect loving awareness is true, that this peaceful awareness is all there really is. So this is the complete correction. My mind holds only what I think with perfect loving awareness would be the state of total enlightenment, total awakened awareness. I have no awareness of anything else. Holds only what I think with perfect loving awareness. If you lived this way, you'd be perfectly enlightened. So this is the ideal, it's the absolute, to actually live it is our goal. But in practice, there is a correction for when we are thinking thoughts that are not perfect loving awareness. It helps us notice those and go, okay, so I see that I'm out of alignment. This isn't what perfect loving awareness would think. So I need to correct it. I need to let go of these thoughts that are not perfect loving awareness. Okay.
Oh yeah, the next one. I accept atonement for myself. Only salvation, or in brackets awakening, can be said to cure. Yeah.
I accept atonement for myself is our only function. Yeah, really. I accept atonement for myself. There's nothing else to accept. There's nothing else to do here. But accept that atonement is a synonym for awakening. It's at one-ment, right? I become at one. That at one-ment for myself, for my separate self, is all we had to do. There's no other purpose, no other function. Then sort of related to that, only salvation, which is awakening in our translated language, can be said to cure. So if I think there's a cure outside of awakening, I'm confused. All the ills of the world are healed by awakening, nothing else. Awakening is the same as at one-ment. I accepted one-ment or awakening for myself. Maybe next year I'll change that. Accepted one-ment or awakening, in brackets, for myself. Only salvation or awakening can be said to cure. Okay, so any thoughts on these ideas, Anna? Any questions, comments, thoughts?
Yeah, no, just very encouraging, yeah. Encouraging and positive, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's very clear.
Yeah. All right. So shall we meditate on it?
Yes, please. Yeah, that would be good.
Okay. Let's go for it then. Meditation is happening. Okay, so just making yourself comfortable, sitting with your feet shoulder width apart, your back straight, you cup your hands in your lap, close your eyes, and start off by taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. Breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises. Subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Pausing at the top of the inhale. Just scan your mind for any thoughts going on there. Any related emotions. Remind yourself that my mind or my awareness holds only what I think with God or perfect loving awareness. So if there's anything that doesn't serve you, if there's anything that's out of accord with perfect loving awareness, breathe into it, notice it, remind yourself that it's not real, because your mind holds only what you think was the truth, which is perfect loving awareness. Exhale and let it all go, blow it all out. Imagine those dark thoughts and emotions are leaving you like a black cloud, dark smoke, exhaling it out. It's going, going, gone. There's no nothingness that it really is. Pull the lower stomach into the spine. Expel the last remaining air out. And find a sense of peace and restfulness in this perfect loving awareness. Just let it arise. In this arising of this perfect loving awareness, you are accepting the at one-ment for yourself. I accept at one-ment or awakening for myself. My separate self is accepting only oneness, only perfect loving awareness, which is the awareness of perfect oneness. Love is oneness. I accept this at one-ment for myself. Right now, in this moment, by going into this loving awareness, that's what I'm doing. And I can do this all the time. Every moment of every day, I can stay in this awareness. So I can accept the at one-ment for myself, moment by moment by moment, by staying in perfect loving awareness, which means I perceive everything correctly, truly, from the perspective of perfect loving awareness. And only salvation or awakening, in alternative language, can be said to cure. So if I have any health issues, typically we think of as cure, but any problems in my life, physical, mental, emotional, psychological, spiritual, it's all really the same problem, which is that I've disconnected myself from perfect love and awareness, that I'm thinking and feeling the wrong thoughts and feelings. It's only one problem and only one solution. That solution is awakening or salvation. It's restoring your mind to this perfect loving awareness. Only that can be said to cure. Nothing else is worthy of the name. So all the magic cures of the world, the ego's invented, pills, medical treatments of one sort or another, money, special relationships, substances, stuff, things of the world we value, experiences even. All of those can't really cure the problem. They're just magic fixes that don't really work. Only awakening from the dream can be said to cure. That's what this is saying. So just contemplate on this, meditate on it, breathing in, nice deep breath in through your nose. And then breathing out through your nose. Get into a nice rhythm of the breath. And as our text said, just sink inwards, melt inwards, and go quietly in to your mind, to the truth of who you really are, of what you really are. And rest in this oneness. There's nowhere else to go, there's nothing else to do. Just accept this at one moment for yourself. In this moment, your mind holds only what you think with God or perfect loving awareness. There's no other awareness. And so just rest in this awareness for a few moments of deep peace and quiet and stillness. So just gently Coming back into an awareness of your body and the breath, senses in the world. And on the count of 3, you're going to open your eyes. So 1, just breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises. Subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Just pause at the top of the inhale. Smile. Scan your mind, notice any thoughts and emotions, body sensations going on, and remind yourself that my mind or my awareness holds only what I think, with God or perfect loving awareness. So I just let everything else go. In that process, you are accepting at-one-ment for yourself, and only this is salvation or awakening. Only this can be said to cure anything. Accept all of that. As you breathe in again, embrace it. Notice the breath flowing in, subtle flow of air into the nostrils. Notice what you're feeling and touching. Notice any flow of air in your skin. Notice what you're hearing. In this perfect loving awareness, takes on a different qualities. Not different things, separate things, making these noises, sounds, these sights. It's just all part of oneness. It's pure awareness that underlies it all. So try and enter into that awareness, connect with it, claim it as your own. That's accepting of oneness for yourself. It's this experience of oneness that all the great enlightened beings of the world have talked about, unity consciousness, awareness that there really is only one awareness, one mind behind it all. And just allow that to come in. So this oneness is your at-one-ment. This is accepting at-one-ment for yourself. This is the only place you'll ever find salvation or awakening. And set the intention that your mind is only going to hold this awareness. Everything that you perceive is held in this perfect loving awareness. So it is said and so it is done. Now on the count of 3, open your eyes. So just take a moment to look around, ground yourself back into this world, into this reality. Notice that your awareness may have subtly shifted. You're in this perfect loving awareness. Feels very calm, very peaceful, very connected. The world is a happy place in the state. The world is a peaceful place, irrespective of what happens, because your mind is peaceful. So you perceive it peacefully. That's really what this is all leading to. An inner state, an inner locus of control, rather than being continuously influenced by the external world, at the mercy of external circumstances and people and events. Saying, no, your peace lies within you. And by deciding it to be so, you can stay in that peace. So just set that intention for the rest of the evening and the week, no matter what happens. Remind yourself that you choose to stay in this perfect loving awareness. You choose to accept it one for yourself. And this is the only only state in which anything true, anything meaningful can happen. Only this can be said to cure any of the problems of the world. And that'll keep your mind in this higher awareness and away from the negativity of the ego. So that's what I wish for you, Elaine. Perfect loving awareness and at-one-ment. Just keep practicing. Try and practice in the morning, in the evening, longer practice periods. We're going back into original lessons tomorrow, so try and do it morning and evening.
Yes.
15, 20 minutes in the morning, 15, 20 minutes in the evening, and practice the lesson throughout the day as often as you can remember to, and especially when you need it. If you find yourself feeling challenged, you're with
Yes.
other people and you're finding these it's arising, and if you're feeling stressed, you're feeling angry, you're feeling fearful, whatever, just kind of remind yourself of the lesson
Yeah,
and restore your mind through the lesson to this awareness.
I will do. That's
And then from that awareness, you speak and you act, and your thoughts, your words, your actions can be very different from that state of awareness. That's the real world. That's the world that forgiveness brings about. So, yeah, it's about learning to practice it and live it moment by moment, daily. That's what every day and every moment offers you. So, embrace that opportunity and accept the lessons, and it'll all go well. So, good luck.
Thank you.
Practice well, and I will see you next week sometime.
See you next week. Have a good week. Thank you very much. It's very beneficial. Thank you.
Yeah, Tuesday or Thursday.
Yeah.
I'll let you know.
Yeah, that's great. Okay.
Thanks.
Namaste. Thank you very much.
Namaste to you too. Okay.
Bye. Bye.
Bye for now. All right, so that is a wrap for today. Thank you to Elaine for joining. If you enjoyed that session, a couple of things you can do. Hit the subscribe button. You'll be notified whenever I go live, which at the moment is once or twice a week, but that is going to increase in time to come. Lots of plans to grow this community, launch a podcast. So subscribe to the channel, and I'll notify you about all of this via video. You can also go to lifebuild.com. If you're watching the video, you can see it, the spelling of that in the background, LIFEBUILD. Just put a .com on that, and you can subscribe to my Telegram group there, where you'll get some daily quotes, and my thoughts on those are kind of blog posts, as well as a daily lesson from A Course in Miracles, and at least one sort of mini meditation recording to help you practice the lesson, as well as some other resources like movies, bonus talks. There's a lot, and it's all freely available at lifebuild.com. You just need to have Telegram, download it onto your mobile or device, put in your name and your mobile number, and then I can add you to the group once you have Telegram. If you need to download it, you can get that free on the Apple Store or Google Play Store, depending on whether you use an Apple or Android device. So check it out, lifebuild.com, and I hope to connect with you on the inside of one of these sessions or on the group soon. Thanks for watching or listening. Hope to see you soon, and namaste, which means the peaceful, atoned self, the one self in me, honors that same peaceful one self in you. Peace.